transformateurs se sont résignés de ne pouvoir pas sortir manifester. Et donc, c'est une situation totalement absurde pour un pays. Et aujourd'hui, nous célébrons le 11 août, fête de l'indépendance. On pensait que le verdict allait être plus ou moins clément, mais le verdict est sévère.
Annika Longi, tous les dimanches sur Mix Vibration.
Are you fluent in French, Chinyanja, Portuguese, and Kiswahili? Are you passionate about radio? And are you looking to work in South Africa? Do you have papers that qualify you to work in South Africa? In that case, we might have an opportunity for you to work for Channel Africa. Send us your CV and demo at newsroom@channelafrica.co.za. Remember, if you don't hear from us within 14 days, it means you have not made it or you have not been selected. Channel Africa, the African perspective.
It is 14:01 Central African Time. A very good afternoon to the African continent and all corners of the world. This is Africa at Play. We are live every Saturday and Sunday from 2 to 5 p.m. Central African Time on DSTV Audio Bouquet Channel 802 or OpenView 628 if you are based in South Africa. Alternatively, you can reach us from anywhere in the world on channelafrica.co.za. Also available on SABC+. My name is Neto and ETO Chemani. Hosiati Konyangazi Mumkha phandle kunjani moyani vukuvuku dendele. Coming up on Africa at Play, our Zambian correspondent Mmatsheko Mosito spoke with the award-winning journalist Wezi Mazunda to weigh in on the topic of the day. World Netball has kicked out Zambia and Sri Lanka from the ongoing World Netball Youth Cup after both teams failed to arrive on time for the games. Zambia failed to secure visas for their team to Gibraltar. Some sporting codes qualified to big tournaments like the Olympics but failed to participate due to various reasons. Is it the duty of the government or mother bodies like the World Netball to help local associations where they are faced with challenges? You can drop us your thoughts on the number +27 63 406 9126.
You see today are actually a testimony of how they've transformed based on advocacy, strong advocacy in having to work so hard to look for resources and to put into women's sport, allocate equal resources that you give to the men and the women, the girls and the boys. And it shows that the sport itself, Copa Queens, the female footballers have really appreciated it. And Southern Africa must be proud. Africa must be proud to see the brand, what it's doing, where it's coming from. This is a team that was beaten by cricket scoreline by South Africa, and teams like Nigeria, teams from West Africa used to dominate Copa Queens today. But today, before you meet Copa Queens, you really have to prepare yourself, which is good and good for competition and raises the levels of competition in the game.
South African captain Kanyisa Chawani joined an elite list of players to have donned the green and gold as she took to court for the 100th time to represent the country, despite Silver Ferns continuing their dominance over the Spar Proteas with a commanding 77-51 win in the first test match in Auckland. This result marks their 37th victory in 39 clashes between the two nations. Kanyisa speaking after the game.
No, I'm very proud of the team. I think from where we started in the series and how we ended just shows the growth of this group, and each and every player here, each and every individual really stepped up. And I think tonight we had it. I mean, we just let it go in the very end, but I'm still very proud of the group. It feels amazing, and I think I'm very proud to be celebrating with such a group. I mean, we are growing, and it's showing the resilience of the South Africans. I mean, showing up in each and every game, in each and every series, and really giving it our best. So really proud of myself, but I'm also just grateful for the support I have supporting me towards this 100 caps.
The Vodacom Bulls kicked off the new Vodacom United Rugby Championship URC season with a 53-40 victory over the Welsh side Ospreys at Loftus Versfeld, marking a successful start to the era of the new coach Johan Ackermann. In a 15-try spectacle as the Pretoria outfit outscored the Welsh visitors by 9 tries to 6 in this high-scoring affair, Johan Ackermann reflects to the game.
You could see we were not perfect, far from perfect. We were, obviously there's a lot of mistakes with the ball and without the ball. I felt our set piece was decent, but apart from that, when the ball was in play, like I said, both sides wasn't good. But like I said, the pre-season was good, but it was challenging because we never had the 23 that played today, never trained together. There was always disruptions. If it's not injuries, it's obviously guys played for the Currie Cup or vice versa, they still returning from injury. So the positive is that a lot of these combinations will get better and that the match fitness will get better. So again, you'll always be happy with a win. You mustn't take that for granted. So it's better to win and not playing well than to lose,
It is a weekend blessed with action galore of sports. The 10th edition of the Women's Rugby World Cup concluded yesterday afternoon. Canada went down by 13-33 against the hosts England. New Zealand thrashed France 42-26 in the post-season match to finish third. In the Netball World Youth Cup, England will be taking on South Africa in the third place playoff match at 5 p.m. Central African time, while New Zealand is up against Australia in the final to decide who gets crowned the champions of the Netball World Youth Cup, and that match is taking place at 1900 Central African time. There was action also in the CAF Champions League on the African continent. First preliminary round, leg 2 of 2, started Abidjan beat Cote d'Ivoire 3-1 on aggregate, 3-1 and on aggregate 5-1. And Zilimaju went down to Remo Stars by a goal to nil, losing overall in both legs by 5-0 on aggregate. And then there was another match between Ali Sabi and Aigel Noah, and they played to a 1-1 draw, and Noah won on away goal rule. The Silver Strikers played to a 0-0 draw against El Jaco Plus, and Silver Strikers also won on an away goal rule. When you score away, that goal has power. If the host team that is unable to score, then you stand a better chance to triumph on that clash. Black Bulls and AC Leopards. AC Leopards winning the Black Bulls beating AC Leopards on penalties 5-4 after the match played to a 0-0 draw. Orlando Pirates had a good day as Godin Orlando Stadium beating Diodi FC of Lesotho by 4 goals to nil and 7 goals to nil on aggregate. Mlandege up against Ethiopian Insurance. Mlandege winning that match by 3-2 and 4-3 on aggregate. Young Africans beat Willette 2-0 yesterday, and on aggregate they've triumphed 5-0. Vipers beat African Stars 1-0 and won on aggregate by 2 goals to nil. Petro di Luanda of Angola beat Sekel di Joachim 3-0 yesterday and won 6-0 on aggregate. Horoya up against Al Hilal Benghazi. Horoya winning that match by 2 goals to nil and on aggregate by 2 goals to 1. ES Tunis of Tunisia beat AS Fan 4-1 yesterday and won 7-1 on aggregate. Stade Malien beat Tempeta Mokafa 2-0 yesterday and won 7-0 on aggregate, while AS Fan of Morocco beat Real Banjul 2-1 yesterday and triumphed 4-1 on aggregate. MC Alger of Algeria had a good day, beating Fasele by 3 goals to nil and winning 3-0 on aggregate after the two sides played to a dull 0-0 draw last weekend. RSB Pekane, also from North Africa in Morocco, beat Kara by 3 goals to 1 and 4-2 on aggregate. Police up against Mogadishu City will be playing today at 1500 Central African time. As it stands, Police leading Mogadishu City by 3 goals to 1 on aggregate. Simbabora of Zimbabwe will be up against Gaborone United. Simbabora leading by a goal to nil, and that match is taking place at 3 p.m. Central African time. Nsingizwe Hotspurs of Eswatini will be taking on Simbabora at 1500 Central African time. Monastir is up against East End Lions at 4 p.m. Central African time, and as it stands, Monastir is leading 4-0 on aggregate. Manga Sport and Rahimo played to a 0-0 draw last weekend, and they will be facing each other today at 16:30 Central African Time to decide the winner going to the next round. Rivers United up against JSK are sitting on 0-all draw on aggregate. They will be clashing against each other at 5 p.m. Central African Time. ASEC Mimosa, a team that went down to Orlando Pirates in 1995 when Jerry Lex of Thunder Skosana scored that all-important goal in the second half to give the Buccaneers their first continental star, will be taking on Power Dynamos of Zambia, also known as Power 90. ASEC is hosting Power Dynamos, and Power Dynamos triumphed their first leg back at home at the Levi Manawasa Stadium last weekend. Al Hilal up against Jamusa, sitting on a 0-all draw on aggregate. The match is taking place at 1800 Central African Time. Another match that played to a dull 0-all draw was Jaraf and Colombi. They're playing against each other at 1900 Central African Time. Then at 8 p.m. it will be Al Ahli Tripoli up against Daje, and JS Kabile will take on Bibiani Gold Stars at 2100 Central African Time. Nwadibu is up against Foundation Bata at 2100 Central African Time. This is Africa at Play. As Delil Sashaya, we take a short break. We'll be back shortly.
Ahoy, matey!
Captain here to help, right, boys?
Set sail with us on a digital voyage like no other. Channel Africa has a treasure trove of awesomeness. That is our website and social media pages.
Tell me, why are you here?
We want you to be part of our adventure.
The winds are changing, Captain. And this time...
Imagine a world where curiosity knows no bounds, where entertainment meets enlightenment, and where every click leads to the African perspective. Visit us on our website, www.channelafrica.co.za, or follow us on Instagram or on X at Channel Africa One. Go on, like us on Facebook at Channel Africa One. So, spread the word. Tell a friend that Channel Africa's online variety is what they need on the web. Channel Africa, the African perspective. With Neto, N-E-T-O, Chemane.
14:11 Central African Time. If you have just joined us, a very warm welcome to Africa at Play. There's also action in the CAF Confederation Cup with matches kicking off from 1400. Azam of Tanzania up against Al Merrikh, and Zesco United will be taking on FC 105 of Gabon at 1500 Central African Time. Zesco trailing by 2-0 on aggregate. Otoho Dioyo will be taking on Wandi Agosto at 16:30 Central African Time. Otoho leading by 2-1 on aggregate. Kabua Su will be up against USFA at 1700 Central African Time. Kwara United takes on Asante Kotoko of Ghana, and Kwara United is trailing by 3-4 on aggregate. Joliba is up against Abia Warriors at 1800 Central African Time, and Al Agda will take on Fambludi Center at 1800 Central African Time. Pampulmos will be up against Maniema Union, and this match will be taking place on Friday the 3rd of October. Let's now get onto it as we welcome Vino Snape. It's Vincent Motlo, who is a renowned African sports photographer known for his ability to capture the authenticity and emotion of sports, which earned him the nickname The Eye of God. Vino is part of the launch of the Castle Lagers Heritage of Craft mini documentary celebrating the craft of creating lasting memories and timeless beer since 1985. Springboks, Proteas and Bafana Bafana players were all captured on the film with a camera from 1895. Let's now welcome Vino to the conversation. The Eye of God, a very warm welcome to Africa at Play. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Let me first greet the viewers of Channel Africa. So it's a great pleasure to be here. I appreciate the invite.
Thank you so much for joining us. You are always out and about on events. Where are you at the moment, and what's the event all about?
At the moment, I'm at the Hollywood Bet Super League, where I'm covering JVW versus Durban Ladies. It's women football, and it's looking great. They are warming up at the moment. Let me just switch the camera. As it stands, they are warming up. The game will be kicking off at South African time, 3 o'clock.
And talking about the Hollywood Bet Super League, a lot of people never pay attention to that league, and this is where we get to witness talent from women in football in South Africa. And these women, they also get opportunities to elevate their level of the game by, getting tickets to the Banyana Banyana squad and also getting an opportunity to play abroad. Although the Hollywood Bet Super League, it's still a semi-professional league. But talk to us about the images that you go for in an encounter like this. What do you target? What sort of angle are we talking about? And what creates a good photo?
For me, as the eye of God, the sole intention of being here and collaborating with the Hollywood Bets is to tell a story about women's football, because this league is the sole foundation that contributes to Banyana Banyana and the success of it. And having the teams like Mamelodi Sundowns that are doing very well continentally in Africa, it all comes to the glory that is happening here at the Hollywood Bets. And coming into a match day situation, it all takes preparation. It all takes coming here, knowing very well who to focus on. Today, I'm happy to see Gabriel Salgado, who was injured at the previous, was it the WAFCON? Yeah, the previous WAFCON. So today, I'm seeing him. She's here helping out there and there, but it's a good sign because Banyana Banyana will be in camp very soon. So things are looking great. Things are looking great. The league is paving good things for the nation.
If you have just joined us, a very warm welcome to Africa at Play. We are talking to a sports photographer, Snap Vincent Matlo, who is nicknamed the Eye of God. Vincent, let's also talk about your love for sports photography. What do you love so much about it?
It all begins with being a former player myself and injuries hindering my career in football. Sports photography gave me a second life into the sports field. So I'm here doing what I love behind the camera, but actually enjoying what I'm seeing in front of me, because I'm also known very well for sporting talent. So even at these games, my sole intention is to get beautiful photos while also identifying good players.
And talking about beautiful photos, I guess your life starts with the warm-up session, but also the vibe around the stadium in terms of attendance, the ambience, and all of that. How many images in a day like this would you come out with at the end of the day, although you're still going to choose the best out of those you would have taken and still going through the editing process and all of that? But more or less, how many images are we talking about?
For me, I photograph every little touch, every movement. So at the end of the game, I end up having close to 17,000 photos, of which I guess around 300 of them will be the selected ones. But I keep the archives for later purposes, because you'll never know. One of the players might be called up, and along those lines, when you edited, you did not even recognize the player. So with the archives that are saved, I still use those 17,000 files to get something out of them.
Interesting indeed. And let's also talk about different events. Except for the Hollywood Bet Super League, what are some of the events that you were able to cover on the African continent?
So far, the previous week, yesterday, I was covering a CAF Confederation game between Kaizer Chiefs and a team from Luanda. And previous weekend, I was covering the CAF Champions League game between Orlando Pirates and Lioli from Lesotho. And then again, our domestic league, the Betway Premiership. So it's all about football, it's all about sports. I do netball in the townships, I do cricket in the townships. So my life in sports is about all the sporting codes.
What role do you play when a team is attacking and it looks like they'll score a goal and eventually they do so?
My sense is the motivation when the players see me as Vino and my colleagues is that they would love to score so that they can get those crisp photos from their celebrations. Some of them would do some lovely tricks so that they can get those beautiful photos. So somehow we are encouraging these players to give us their best show, because we're here technically for them, to expose them. So when they see us, they are somehow motivated to do their best.
And let's also talk about, the art that comes with the work that you do. Take us through that process. What does it entail?
It's something that started a long time ago. It's a heritage of craft. I also came into this field finding legends like Lefty Shivambu. So I'm also still a student of the game. So it entails learning and learning. I'm just taking each game as it comes. I'll never be the master now because I'm still a student. I'm still learning the game, but I'm taking each game as it comes.
If you have just joined us, we are talking to a sports photographer, that is Vino Snap, Pitsi Vincent Matlo, also nicknamed the Eye of God. We take a short break. When we come back, the conversation continues with Vino Snap.
Ahoy, matey!
Captain here to help, right, boys?
Set sail with us on a digital voyage like no other. Channel Africa has a treasure trove of awesomeness. That is our website and social media pages.
Tell me, why are you here?
We want you to be part of our adventure.
The winds are changing, Captain. And this time...
Imagine a world where curiosity knows no bounds, where entertainment meets enlightenment, and where every click leads to the African perspective. Visit us on our website, www.channelafrica.co.za, or follow us on Instagram or on X at Channel Africa One. Go on, like us on Facebook at Channel Africa One. So, spread the word. Tell a friend that Channel Africa's online variety is what they need on the web. Channel Africa, the African perspective. AUSISA, the Association of Water and Sanitation Institution of South Africa, is a platform uniting Africa's water professionals. This November, Africa leads the conversation on water and sanitation. Join global and African leaders at the AUSISA Africa and Global South Dialogue 2025 from the 9th till the 12th of November at the Emperor's Palace, Johannesburg. From policy innovation, this is where action meets collaboration for a water-secure future. Register today at ausisa-watersan-dialogue.org or follow at AUSISA on social media. AUSISA, working together for sustainable water and sanitation security in Africa. The stories, the scores, the spirit of the game. Catch Africa at Play with Neto Chemane. Saturdays from 2 to 5 p.m. on Channel Africa.
14:21 Central African Time. If you have just joined us, a very warm welcome to Africa at Play. We are still in the middle of an exciting conversation with a sports photographer, that is Pitsi Vincent Matlo, also known as Vino Snap and nicknamed the Eye of God. Vino Snap, talk to us about your nickname, the Eye of God. How did it come about?
The nickname, the Eye of God, came through my ability to spot talent from amateur football, the eye of God is, the eye comes from spotting talent, and I guess God is giving these young boys and young girls an opportunity to elevate their careers.
Any continental events that you've covered so far? Have you traveled across the African continent through sports photography?
Yeah, so far I've went to Botswana, I've went to Zimbabwe, and we are planning a trip to Lesotho very soon for the pre-season tournament. So locally around the countries that are around South Africa, I've tried my best to, as a freelance photographer, I've tried my best to go there and showcase some of the talent we have in Africa.
What are some of the international sporting events that you would like to cover one day? It could be Olympics, it could be the FIFA World Cup.
So far, I have my eyes on the FIFA World Cup that is coming. The most beautiful part is that Bafana will surely be there. So I'll be there with Bafana at the World Cup.
I like the confidence. Vino Snap coming to us live from Tax Carver in the Hollywood Bet Super League match. You said the match is between Durban ladies. Are they playing against Amatax ladies?
No, they're playing against Janine van Wyk FC.
Oh, JVW FC. Okay, I got you. All right. And your score prediction before I let you go?
I'm going to give it to JVW for 2-0 win.
2-0 win for JVW FC up against Durban ladies. They said Durban rocks, but according to Vino Snap, not at the end of this final whistle. Vino Snap, thank you so much for talking to us on Africa at Play. Let's release you so you can gear up for the match. Have a good day on the pitch.
And before I leave, I'd love to thank Castle Lager for involving me in their campaign when as they were celebrating 130 years of brewery. and the heritage of craft. I got an opportunity to photograph with a camera that was also celebrating 130 years in existence. So I got an opportunity to use a camera that was used 130 years ago, and getting a sense of what I'm using now compared to what they were using then. I'm very grateful for the opportunity by Casablanca.
That is Vino Snap, also known as the Eye of God. It's Vincent Matlowe, sports photographer, currently covering a Hollywood-Bad Super League match taking place in Tshwane, the country's capital city, where it is a game between JVW FC up against Durban Ladies. Vino Snap, thank you so much. All the best.
Thank you very much, and all the best to you too.
14:25 Central African Time. That's a sports photographer. You see, sport is broad. It's not just about athletes on the day, but there are those playing important and vital roles behind the scenes, like photographers and administrators. Fans as well, they also play an important role, because imagine a sport match with no spectators. It will be a dull affair indeed. Let's go to the dance floor.
Africa at Play, beautifully, happily marrying sports and music.
Matching my steez, you know I'm a G. Shawty, I'm always keep it real. I know they for too much whining, they for too much whining. I see the be, I see Shayo they enter. Oh yeah, make you call a B. Oh yeah, show yourself, do over sabi. Love is in the air, baby breathing. I dey available, baby anytime you need me, I dey available. Compatible, two of us they compatible. Girl, I be bad boy for girls say I dey mellow. Ah baby, I dey fold, baby take it slow, baby go down low. Nobody has to know, yeah, know I'm playing around, my man, no bitch, let you go. Baby, some money, you know say you're matching my steez. You know I'm a G, shawty, I'm always keep it real. I know they for too much whining, they for too much whining. I see the be, I see Shayo they enter. Oh yeah, make you call a B. Oh yeah, show yourself, do over sabi. Love is in the air, baby breathing. The way you move this your body in a way, banana. Catch me up, got me hands up, bottom. Beautiful way, personality, shut up. Make her enter your life, make her busy, the balance. As I get opportunity, why I no go mountain. Actually, I go ready, nothing come out in my hand for your matter. They see girls say, but you bad. Okay, your ways, put me for bello, push it bello. I did this, so the minno, baby, na me door. Your kids, they above the law. After you, now you become uncle. Oh, baby, show up, get other girls jealous, but you are working, matching my AB color. Treat you like a mama, Barbie on a honey. Baby, you're the one for me, oh. Baby, some money. You know say you're matching my steez. You know I'm a G. Shawty, I'm always keep it real. I know they for too much whining, they for too much whining. I see the be, I see Shayo they enter. Oh yeah, make you call a B. Oh yeah, show yourself, do over sabi. Love is in the air, baby breathing.
Africa at Play, beautifully, happily marrying sports and music.
Alô família, não quero discutir com ninguém, só vim informar que voltei com ela. Alô amigos, não quero discutir com ninguém, só vim informar que voltei com ela. A vida é minha, o corpo é meu, o coração que está a sofrer também é meu. A vida é minha, mamãe, o corpo é meu, o coração que está a sofrer também é meu. Todo mundo me dizia que ela não merecia, mas ninguém via que aos poucos eu morria. Eu até bem que podia ficar sem ela 1 ou 2 dias, mas como fazer, como enganar meu coração, mamãe? Eu amo, eu amo essa mulher. Eu amo, eu amo essa mulher. Alô família, não quero discutir com ninguém, só vim informar que voltei com ela. Alô amigos, não quero discutir com ninguém, só vim informar que voltei com ela. Eu sei o que ela fez, não tem perdão. Ela amarrou forte o meu coração. Eu sei que foram vocês que me ajudaram nos momentos difíceis. Vocês me salvaram da angústia. Eu sei, eu prometi nunca mais voltar pra ela, mas eu não posso mentir mais, família. E ela é a mulher da minha vida. E ela é a mulher da minha vida. Eu amo, eu amo essa mulher. Eu amo, eu amo essa mulher. Vou fazer como, vou fazer como, vou fazer como. Se eu amo essa mulher, mamãe, vou fazer como, vou fazer como, vou fazer como. Se eu amo essa mulher, vocês me salvaram da angústia. Eu sei, eu prometi nunca mais voltar pra ela, mas eu não posso mentir mais, família. E ela é a mulher da minha vida. E ela é a mulher da minha vida. Eu amo. Fazer como se eu amo essa mulher. Eu amo. que voltei com ela.
Voltei con ela, which is Portuguese. In English, it means I came back with her. And this is a song by the legendary Matias Damasio, the king of Pasada music. We also played you Baby Is It a Crime by Rema, influenced by the original by Sade Adu. Let's update you on matches taking place across the African continent and globally. With the Premier League yesterday, Manchester City hammered Burnley by 5-1. Crystal Palace shocked the world and beat Liverpool FC, the reigning champions and the current league leaders, by 2-1, and that puts them in a decent position. Before this match, Crystal Palace was lying fifth, while Liverpool was on the summit. Nottingham Forest, the Tricky Trees, went down by a narrow 1-0 win against Sunderland yesterday. Tottenham and Wolves played to a 1-1 draw. Finally, Wolverhampton Wanderers have registered their first point ever in the new season, 2025-2026 season, after having played 5 matches prior to this one and lost all 5 of them. Finally, a point is in the bag. Aston Villa are taking on Fulham at 3 p.m. Central African time. Newcastle United is up against the Gunners of London. Arsenal at 17:30 Central African time. Everton will wrap up the weekend with West Ham at the Hammers at 2100 Central African time tomorrow. There's also action happening in the Bundesliga, the German Football League, and we will update you with different fixtures that are taking place today. Let's get on to it. SC Freiburg is up against Hoffenheim at 15:30 Central African time. There's more matches in the Bundesliga happening today. We've got Cologne up against VfB Stuttgart at 17:30 Central African time. Union Berlin up against Hamburger SV, and that match is happening at 19:30 Central African time. 14:35 Central African time. Do make time to visit our Channel Africa website and click on programs, then search for Africa at Play. At the bottom right screen of Africa at Play, you can click on more to access conversations that you might have missed out on. Do get in touch with us on our different social media platforms. On Instagram and X is at Channel Africa 1. Our topic of the day is a very exciting one, although disturbing, where we're talking about the Netball Youth World Cup currently ongoing in Gibraltar, where Zambia failed to travel to Gibraltar due to travel documents issues with visas highlighted as the main issue, and they couldn't make it to the tournament, and World Netball then cancelled their participation because they couldn't make it to the venue on time. And what we are asking is that, is it the responsibility of governments or the mother bodies like World Netball to assist local federations or domestic federations whenever they're faced with challenges? Drop us your thoughts on our number +27 63 406 9126. Looking forward to those voice notes. We take a short break. When we come back, All Things Africa at Play continues.
Hi there. Do you want to elevate your business and give it a voice in South Africa and Africa as a whole? Well, in that case, let Channel Africa make this a possibility. Channel Africa is willing to advertise your business for as little as 30,000 rands or $1,719.18. To get access to these great rates, send all requests to mukwenata@SABC. That's MOKOENATA@SABC. Channel Africa, the African perspective. From football fields to finish lines,
Eliud Kipchoge storms into the history books.
Neto Chemane brings you sports on Africa at Play.
14:38 Central African time. If you have just joined us, a very warm welcome to Africa at Play, the continent's best sport and music destination. We are live every Saturday and Sunday from 2 to 5 p.m. Central African time. The Year of the Legend series peaks at the 2025 Toyota South African Derby. The Year of the Legend has landed more participants, more prize money, more passion, all in pursuit of perfection, with 3 of the country's biggest shows having already concluded. The Year of the Legend will culminate at the 2025 Toyota South African Derby from the 1st to the 5th of October 2025 at the exquisite Kyalami Equestrian Park, running from the running from Easter. This year, the show have started the best, resulting in legends rising to the top through their passionate partnerships, perseverance, and professionalism. As we now welcome Hitha Mpofu, who is the Kyalami Park Club show director. Hitha, a very good afternoon and a warm welcome to Africa at Play. Happy Heritage Day, Happy Heritage Month.
Thank you so much, Nato. How are you? And happy Heritage Month and Day and whatever to you.
Thank you so much. I'm doing good. And thanks a million for joining us on Africa at Play. Let's get on to it. For those who have never watched the show Jumping, what is it all about and how does it all work?
You know what? If you've never watched show jumping, this one is one of the biggest competitions. Of course, sponsored by our super amazing sponsor Toyota, and you'll be watching the highest jumps in equestrian, and the most difficult and taxing course being the challenge of the day for those 1 meter 50 horses and 1 meter 50 riders.
Tell us more about the venue as well, Kyalami Equestrian Park. What's so special about this venue?
This venue has been around for so many years. Derby in itself is in its 60th year. So you can imagine how long the venue has been. It's been there, way before I was even born. So it's one of the top African venues. I don't think there's any other venue that is like it in Africa. And we've also had overseas visitors, coming in and saying they haven't seen anything like it. So I can comfortably say, it is one of the best venues world over, one of the permanent venues for equestrian sport.
If you have just joined us, we're talking equestrian sport with Hitha Mpofu, who is the Kyalami Park Club show director. Hitha, let's talk about your role at this show. What role will you be playing and what do you like so much about what you're doing?
My role for this show, it's been planning all along, planning and putting things together. But now we're getting into the execution part. So I'll be overseeing and making sure that everything is running according to plan, and on time, especially on that Derby Sunday on the 5th. Where all the qualifiers, firstly they are going to be qualifying from Thursday. We're going to be qualifying our top champions that are going to go and compete for the final for the final title, which is the SA Derby title. So for me, it is executing and making sure that all those events are running timelessly and according to our plans and desires.
Where is the most excitement between the qualifying rounds and the actual derby?
I think it's the actual derby. With the actual derby, that course they don't really even get time to practice that the exact course that they will be jumping over derby, and it's a very long. It's a long course and it's very high jumps, and the crowd actually comes to silence watching each and every jump, and they only applaud. All you hear is the whoos and the ha's and the claps when that horse makes it over those taxing jumps.
And talking about the horses, are they accompanied by the jockeys or they are trained to do their own thing?
No, they definitely have a rider on them. So it's a partnership sport. Ours is a partnership sport. You've got the horse and you've got the rider. So it's a combination of two athletes having to work their way and find, common ground and ride that track.
And having spoken to some of the riders, what have they said to you? Are they having a certain special relationship with their horses? Do they meet their horses prior or they meet their horses on the day of the competition?
No, they own the horses. So they have been training, but not on that exact, on the ground. So before the competition, the arena, when the entries open, that arena is under lockdown. No one is allowed to even compete. I'm not even allowed to put anything to happen in that arena until those competitors come in to compete in that arena. So they have their horses. They've been training from home, and now it will be the time to show off what they've trained. And yes, it requires very strong partnership between horse and rider. They have to understand each other and take care of each other on that course, they say. And if one makes a mistake, one corrects. So that partnership has to be very fluid when they take on that course.
I find it very interesting that a human being makes a good relationship with an animal and they together go and partake and participate, compete in a partnership sport. Very exciting indeed. Before we wrap up, how big is show jumping on the African continent? Have you thrown your eyes across the continent?
Show jumping, in across Africa, it is quite big. We have various competitions that go on between the various nations. If we go back to the Toyota Easter Festival, we even had an Inter-Africa Cup that was held there by us at Kyalami Equestrian Park. So all over across Africa, there is, show jumping is quite there. And even when we go to World Equestrian Games, there is an African team that comes out. And as well as the competitions like Adult FEI, they also select. Africa comes together and make a team for themselves. So they compete individually and they compete as an African team, known as Group 9 team.
That is the voice of Hidampofu, who is the Kyalami Park Club show director, and we're talking all things to the partnership sport, that is show jumping, which involves a rider together with a horse, and in that partnership they compete for the ultimate glory. Hida, please just stay on the line. We take a short break. We'll wrap up our conversation after the short break.
Mornings made better with Peter and Asanda on Rise and Shine, weekdays 6 till 9.
Malawians go to the polls next week in a high-stakes general election where citizens will choose a new president and 229 members of parliament. And this comes 5 years after the country's 2019 election was annulled by the Constitutional Court due to widespread irregularities in a landmark decision that overturned the victory of the then President Peter Mutharika.
I'm not saying we're a perfect government. No, nobody is. I mean, we've seen even South Africa facing challenges with the fuel that's going up and with whatever challenges. But you know what? When you are dealing with an IMF policy that says do not employ so many people because you are going to become a welfare government and all of that. And Dr. Chakwera said I've got high numbers of unemployment. As a government that is answerable to Malawians, we have found IMF policies wanting on many issues. We believe the people who pay us taxes to put us in our positions, we owe them employment at the minimum.
That's Dr. Jesse Kwabila, who's the Minister of Higher Education in Malawi.
Mornings made better with Peter and Asanda on Rise and Shine. Africa at Play with Neto and ETO Chemane.
14:47 Central African Time. This is Africa at Play. Asdeleli Siashaya. If you have just joined us, a very warm welcome. We are wrapping up a conversation talking about show jumping, a partnership sport between the rider and the horse. And helping us to do so is Hidampofu, who is the Kyalami Park Club show director. Hida, as we wrap up this conversation, what's coming up next after this derby coming up on the 5th of October?
Basically, this is more of our last big show for the club for Kyalami Equestrian Park. It doesn't mean that we're not going to have any other competitions. We do have other competitions happening basically after every week, every second week we have a competition. Directly after the derby, it's Toyota, the Sanisa Schools, which is also sponsored by Toyota. So they will be watching young children, from all over South Africa that have competed in their provinces and qualified for the finals, coming to Kyalami Equestrian Park to compete and represent their provinces and hopefully taking the national title in their equestrian disciplines.
And moving forward, are we looking forward to Team South Africa being represented at the upcoming World Equestrian Championship or Show Jumping Championship?
we are looking forward to it. We have got riders that have sent their horses overseas to prepare for that. For example, our last year's Derby winner, Ronnie Healy, both his horses are already overseas and campaigning for that.
Hidambo Fukailame Park Club show director talking to us on Africa at Play. Hida, thank you so much for educating our listeners with regards to all things show jumping. It is an incredible one indeed. All the best to you and your team.
Thank you so much, and thank you for having me.
14:49 Central African Time. That's how we wrap up our conversation with Hidambo Fukailame Park Club show director, talking all things show jumping. That is a partnership sport between a rider and a horse, and this is very interesting indeed. We are going to be giving you the sports news shortly after the short break.
Hi there. Do you want to elevate your business and give it a voice in South Africa and Africa as a whole? Well, in that case, let Channel Africa make this a possibility. Channel Africa is willing to advertise your business for as little as 30,000 rands or $1,719.18. To get access to these great rates, send all requests to mukwena@SABC. That's MOKOENATA@SABC. Channel Africa, the African perspective. Are you fluent in French, Chinyanja, Portuguese, and Kiswahili? Are you passionate about radio? And are you looking to work in South Africa? Do you have papers that qualify you to work in South Africa? In that case, we might have an opportunity for you to work for Channel Africa. Send us your CV and demo at newsroom@channelafrica.co.za. Remember, if you don't hear from us within 14 days, it means you have not made it or you have not been selected. Channel Africa, the African perspective. From football fields to finish lines,
Eliud Kipchoge storms into the history books.
Neto Chemane brings you sports on Africa at Play. Africa at Play with Neto and Neto Chemane.
14:51 Central African Time. If you have just joined us, let's update you on the latest in the Nigeria Premier Football League. Bendel up against Bayelsa United played to a 1-1 draw yesterday. Plateau United beat El Kanemi Warriors by a 1-0. And matches coming up today. Warri Wolves will be taking on Shooting Stars at 5 p.m. Central African Time. Wiki Tourists up against Enugu Rangers at the same time. And Nasarawa United taking on Katsina United. Also at 5 p.m. Central African Time. Kun Khalifat takes on Barau at the same time, and Ikorodu City will be up against Enyimba, and that match is taking place at 18:30 Central African Time. It's time for sports news. 14:52 Central African Time. If you have just joined us, let's now bring you the sports news, starting off with tennis news. Carlos Alcaraz again looked untroubled by his ankle injury as he brushed aside American Brandon Nakashima 6-2, 6-4 on Sunday to reach the Japan Open semifinals. The world number one hurt himself during his opening match in Tokyo, and he admitted after his next outing that the injury had worried him and was on his mind on the court. The Spaniard again played with strapping showing above the top of his left sock, but it did not appear to trouble him in another comfortable victory. The Spaniard spent 3 match points but made no mistake a game later, sealing the deal with a vicious forehand that he hit the baseline. Alcaraz's semi-final opponent Ruud beat Australian qualifier Alexander Vucic by 6-3, 6-2. World number 5 Taylor Fritz will play fellow American Jensen Brooksby in the other semi-final. Fritz, the number 2 seed, came through a tough quarter-final against another American, Sebastian Korda, winning 6-3, 6-5, 6-3. Brooksby beat the number 3 seed Denmark's Holger Rune 6-3, 6-3. Fritz, who beat Alcaraz this month at the Lever Cup, said he struggled with the weather in Tokyo with temperatures around 27 degrees Celsius for his late morning match. In rugby news, the Vodacom United Rugby Championship kicked off with 2 wins from the South African teams, with the DHL Stormers and Vodacom Bulls victorious on home soil, while the Hollywood Bats, Sharks and Lions lost on the road. The DHL Stormers defeated defending champions Leinster by 35-0 in Cape Town on Friday evening before the Hollywood Bats Sharks went down 35-19 to the Glasgow Warriors in Scotland. On Saturday afternoon in Pretoria, the country's capital city, the Vodacom Bulls beat the Ospreys by 53-40 in a high-scoring affair, while the Lions went down 33-20 to Cardiff in the Welsh capital in the late evening game. Here is the Bulls coach following the victory.
Yeah, I know, just thank God for this great privilege to be involved in the game that I loved and where everything started for me as a provincial player, and was a great privilege for me to walk out onto Loftus there in the middle of the field and like you said, just soak everything in. So to be involved with the Vodacom Bulls is just amazing, being back and just grateful. That's all I was experiencing, gratefulness that after so many years one can be here again. You could see we were not perfect, far from perfect. We were, obviously there's a lot of mistakes with the ball and without the ball. I felt our set piece was decent, but apart from that, when the ball was in play, like I said, both sides wasn't good. But like I said, the pre-season was good, but it was challenging because we never had the 23 that played today never trained together. There was always disruptions. If it's not injuries, it's obviously guys played for the Currie Cup or vice versa, they still returning from injury. So the positive is that a lot of these combinations will get better and that the match fitness will get better. So again, you'll always be happy with a win. You mustn't take that for granted. So it's better to win and not playing well than to lose. It's great to know what we've got at our disposal, but then again I've got a lot of faith in the current group that is playing. It's just we need to be better because obviously the teams will get better as the season progresses. So for us, you can't, some of the tries tonight was just too easy, and you're going to get teams that won't allow you to score as many tries, and then you're going to not be on the right end of the result. So we must fix the things now with the players that we got, and I still believe they have got the ability to fix the things and to compete against the best. So we just need to work harder. But again, it's important that we enjoy the moment. It's important that we enjoy a win and not take that for granted. So I'm very proud of every player today, not just the 23, but the group who prepared and get everybody ready.
Looking at the set piece, quite.
Next weekend, DHL Stormers host Ospreys in Cape Town in a 1900 Friday fixture, while the Hollywood Bats Sharks will be in action from 21:05 against the Dragons in Wales. Saturday's big fixtures sees the Vodacom Bulls face Leicester at 18:30 in Pretoria in a rematch of last season's final, which the Irish outfit won comfortably in Dublin to lift the Vodacom URC title for the first time. The weekend's fixtures conclude on Sunday in Italy, where the Lions face Zebra Parma at 4 p.m. Central African Time. Let's move on to netball news. The Silver Fans continued their dominance over the Spar Proteas with a commanding 77-51 win in the first test match in Auckland. This result marks their 37th victory in 39 clashes between the two nations. The teams last met during the 2023 Netball World Cup in Cape Town, where they played to a dramatic 48-all draw. This fixture was also the first time since 2018 that South Africa faced New Zealand on their home soil. The Proteas started brightly, converting their opening centre pass to take an early lead, but the fans' experience quickly showed as they surged ahead to a 28 advantage by the first break. South Africa's attacking duo of Rolene Strudka and Kamohelo Mmaseko struggled to find a rhythm early, combining for just 8 goals from 18 attempts. Head coach Jenny van Dijk introduced Elmire van der Berg in the second quarter, and she made an immediate impact, but New Zealand maintained their stronghold, winning the quarter 21-14 to lead comfortably at halftime. In the third quarter, Van Dijk turned to her bench, bringing in Talimate, Nicole Briette and Jamie van Veek to inject fresh energy. Midway through, the Proteas suffered to a blow when captain Kanyisa Chawani was forced off with injury. With Mmaseko returning to the court, the Silver Fence capitalized, taking the championship quarter 17-13 and extending the lead to 58-35. The match ended 77-51 in favor of the Fence. In cricket news, here is Coach Jenny van Dijk reacting to the game.
First up, I just want to take a moment to thank everybody for all your support throughout the New Zealand Test Series, more specifically all the media houses and all journalists, and then also all our big sponsors, especially Spar. This has really been such a valuable tour for us, and I think, everybody can agree that the players have shown quite a lot of promise. I think the time spent and the work that everybody has been doing behind the scenes are really starting to show. Obviously, we would have wanted a better start to this series, and this is something that we will still dissect and still tackle. But at the end of the day, I really felt that today's performance was a brilliant performance. This is the type of performances we want to put up if we want the top 3-4 to be interested in playing.
And finally, in cricket news, Nepal on Sunday celebrated their stunning victory against the West Indies, their first ever win in an international cricket match against a test-playing nation. Nepal defeated West Indies by 19 runs in the first T20 international of a three-match series in Sharjah on Saturday. The win marks Nepal's first triumph over the two-time T20 World Cup champions and represents a major milestone for the rising cricket nation. That's how we wrap up our sports news, and that's how we say goodbye to the first hour of Africa at Play, where we got to speak to a sports photographer who's covering a Hollywood Bets Super League match between Durban Ladies and JVWFC. I'm talking about a snap. The snap that is Pitsi Vincent Matlow, also well known as the Eye of God. We also got to speak to Hidampofu, who is the Kyalami Park Club show director, talking show jumping. This is a partnership sport between a rider and a horse, and the final will be taking place on the 5th of October, which is a South African derby, and the qualifying rounds kicking off on the 1st of October. We also got to bring you up to speed with regards to different fixtures that are happening on the African continent, and we've officially entered the second hour of Africa at Play. Africa at Play, as Delilisia Shire.
Exclusive to Africa at Play on Channel Africa. Teenagers in Sports with Neto, Neto Chamane.
15:02 Central African Time. If you have just joined us, a very warm welcome to Africa at Play, the continent's best sport and music destination. We're coming to you live from the world-class African Institution of Broadcasting, the SABC, in Auckland Park, Johannesburg, in the Republic of South Africa, with sport and music from an African perspective. It's time to get in touch with our teenagers in sport who are involved in a sport called canoeing. And I'm talking about three teenagers from Durban, and we have them on the line. We've got Simpiwe Kwela, who is a 16-year-old, as well as Njabulo Zondi, also 16 years, and Sibulelo Ngobese. Let's start by welcoming Simpiwe to the conversation. Simpiwe, good afternoon and a warm welcome to Africa at Play.
Hello, everyone.
Thank you so much for joining us. Happy Heritage Month.
Thank you for having me.
Simpiwe Kwela, 16-year-old who lives at Shongweni Dam. He goes to Manganga High School, and he started canoeing in the year 2021. He was drawn to canoeing because it is a sport with many opportunities for success and growth. He was selected to compete overseas after winning the South African Sprints, where he returned with 3 medallions. Altogether, he won 27 medals. He also competed in the Czech Republic in a races at the Olympic Hopes Regatta 2025. Simpiwe, thank you so much for joining us on Africa at Play. Let's get on to it. What drew your attention to the sport of canoeing?
The sport of canoeing was a very, it was an underrated sport. So my friend suggested that we go into it because we were playing soccer and we got injured while playing. So he suggested that we go into canoeing because there's less injuries. So that's how we got into it.
And okay, yeah, keep going.
Sorry?
Oh, I thought you were still making your point. Are you done?
Yes.
All right. And how do you explain canoeing to someone who's hearing it for the first time?
I would say canoeing is a very, how can I put it? I would say it's not a very difficult sport. It requires discipline, hard work, and determination.
Discipline, hard work, and determination, then you are good to go to be a canoeist. We are talking to our teenager in sport, Simphiwe Khwela, a 16-year-old canoeist. Simphiwe, just stay on the line. Let's also welcome our other teenager in sport, that is Njabulo Zondi, 16-year-old dedicated young canoeist from Shongweni Dam in KwaZulu-Natal, and he attends school at the same school as Simphiwe, that is Thokozamanganga High School, and he began his canoeing journey in 2018. Growing up, soccer was his first sporting interest, but after struggling to excel in it, he turned to canoeing, a sport that had already gained popularity in his community. What began as an alternative soon became his passion as he discovered the unique opportunities for growth and success that canoeing offered. Let's welcome Njabulo Zondo. Njabulo, a very good afternoon and a warm welcome to Africa at Play.
Yeah,
how are you doing today? No, we're good. Please talk to us about your interest in canoeing. How did it come about?
Canoeing bemnandi kakhulu. Uqala kwami ngayiqala 2018 ngoba size ngaqala lapho ngafuna ukubhukuda kwaya ngokuya ngaphasa ngabona iskepini ngagwedla ngize ngifela ngikhona manje.
There you have it from Njabulo Zondi, who is explaining what drew his interest to the sport of canoeing. Initially, he was into soccer, but after that, he then considered canoeing, which started as an alternative but became his passion. We also have our third and final teenager in sport, also a canoeist, and his name is Sibulelo Ngobeze, a talented young canoeist from Damini, Shongweni. He is a 17-year-old and attends at the same school, Thokozamanganga High School. His introduction to canoeing came at an early age through his uncle, who inspired him to take up the sport when he was just 6 years old. Sibulelo, good afternoon and welcome to Africa at Play. Hello, Sibulelo. Hello, Sibulelo. It looks like Sibulelo can't hear us, but nevertheless, let's bring back to the conversation Simphiwe Khwela. Simphiwe, let's get on to it. What are some of the canoeing events that you've participated in, and how did it go?
My canoeing event was the KZN Sprints. It went very well, but in my first race, I actually fell out of my boat, so it was an experience, I have to say. And I also competed in the KZN Marathon, and we got first place in the K2 with my partner, Njabulo Zondi.
Interesting indeed. And what kind of a partner is Njabulo Zondi?
Uphathino right impela ngoba siyabambisana sisebenze sobabili ukuze sirese kahle siya-communicate futhi njengophathini asinazo inkinga eziningi.
Yeah, and have you traveled out of the country through canoeing?
Yebo sesiphumile le South Africa njengoba kade siye eQatar ngaleli so kade siye Rasis eCzech Republic sikumpita kwama-Olympic Hopes Regatta 2025.
And how did it go in those competitions out of South Africa?
Sirayisile kona kodwa it didn't go as well as we would have liked it to go. Kodwa sinisela ukuthi sibuye sijime uma ukuthi siyakuthola ithuba lokuthi siphindele khona sike senze kangcono nalokho besikwenzile.
Let's welcome back to the conversation Sibulelo Ngobeze, a talented young canoeist from Damini Shongweni, a 17-year-old, and also attends the school at the same school as Simpiwe and Njabulo, which is Thokozamanganga High School in KwaZulu-Natal province. Sibulelo, good afternoon and a warm welcome to Africa at Play. Hello, Sibulelo. We're battling with that line of Sibulelo, but nevertheless, we will continue the conversation with Simpiwe and Njabulo Zondi. Njabulo, let's bring you back to the conversation. What are your plans moving forward in the sport of canoeing?
Bengifuna phambili namhla ngibe umgwedli ophezulu nami ngikwazi umela South Africa.
Njabulo, they're saying that moving forward, he wants to be top in canoeing and be one of the top athletes and represent his country, South Africa, very well. Njabulo, thank you so much for talking to us on Africa at Play. All the best moving forward. All right, let's also wrap up with Simpiwe Kwela, a 16-year-old who lives in Shongweni Dam, and he goes to Thokozamanganga High School. Simpiwe, talk to us about your school. How's life there?
Sorry, can you repeat the question, please?
How's life at your school? What do you like so much about your school?
Isikole sihle kakhulu ngoba siyasupporta i-sporting center ose-canoeing sisupport inkulu. Futhi ke kumnandi ukufunda khona othisha bakhona aba-very supportive. O-principal sonke staff sasesikoleni se-right.
And what are your future plans in the sport of canoeing?
Ku-sport sami ngifisa ukukhula ngidlondlobale ngigcine sengumdlali ovelele emhlabeni ngikwazi ukumela South Africa futhi ngirepresente kahle wona wonke umhlaba.
Simpiwe Kwela saying he wants to do well in the sport and represent South Africa in different international events and represent the country very well. Thank you so much, Simpiwe, for talking to us on Africa at Play.
Ngiyabonga kakhulu. Sidlulisa ukubonga futhi naku-CSA, u-KNCU, naku-Itobelethu Foundation ngokusupport nokwenza kulonke lolu hambo lube impumelelo. Siyabonga.
Kubonga thina, that's Simpiwe Kwela, a 16-year-old canoeist. We also got to speak to Njabulo Zondi, 16-year-old canoeist, and they go to the same high school in KwaZulu-Natal province, that is Thokozamanganga High School. And it's good to see that, not everyone plays the traditional well-known sports like football, rugby and cricket, but we get to hear that there are different sporting codes that these athletes are opting for. 15:10 Central African Time. We take a short break. We'll be back shortly.
In this episode of Channel Africa Conversations, Peter talks to Dr. Tulisile Buddha, an academic, author, and an expert in indigenous knowledge systems. Join us for a compelling discussion on preserving African languages and traditions in the digital era. Dr. Tulisile unpacks the role of educators, explorers, and how technologies like AI can support cultural preservation, and challenges us to rethink how we honor African heritage. You can find the episode on YouTube, SABC Plus, and on our website, channelafrica.co.za. This episode is a must-listen for educators, creators, and change makers across the continent. Channel Africa, the African perspective. Are you fluent in French, Chinyanja, Portuguese, and Kiswahili? Are you passionate about radio? And are you looking to work in South Africa? Do you have papers that qualify you to work in South Africa? In that case, we might have an opportunity for you to work for Channel Africa. Send us your CV and demo at newsroom@channelafrica.co.za. Remember, if you don't hear from us within 14 days, it means you have not made it or you have not been selected. Channel Africa, the African perspective. From football fields to finish lines,
Eliud Kipchoge storms into the history books.
Neto Chemane brings you sports on Africa at Play.
salake bayo kozoka moninga salake bayo yo salake bayo yo salake bayo yo salake bayo moninga salake bayo yo salake bayo yo salake bayo moninga nanga salake bayo
Africa at Play with Neto and ETO Chemane.
Yeah, yeah, you are my African queen. Ooh, Lord, ooh, Lord. Just like the sun, light up the earth, you light up my life. The only one I ever see with a smile so bright. Hey. And just yesterday, you came around my way. You changed my horse in way with your astonishing beauty. Oh, you couldn't make a brother sing. No ordinary thing, a supernatural being. And no, you are brighter than the moon, brighter than the star. I love you just the way you are. And you are my African queen, the girl of my dreams. You take me where I never been, yeah. You make my heart go ding-a-ling-a-ling. Oh, you are my African queen, the girl of my dreams. And you remind me of a thing, and that is the African beauty. Yeah, yeah. Ooh, you are my African queen. Oh, you stand as one, they are standing one. I look into your eyes, girl, what I see is paradise. Hey, you captivated my soul. Now every day I want you more. Now I cannot deny this feeling I'm feeling inside. Hey, no one cannot take your place, you cannot take your space. That is a fact I cannot erase. And no, you are the one that makes me smile. make me float like a boat upon the Nile. Girl, you are my African queen, the girl of my dreams. You take me where I've never been. You make my heart go ting-a-ling-a-ling. Yeah, you are my African queen, the girl of my dreams. And you remind me of a thing, and that is the African beauty. Oh, oh, yeah, yeah. Ooh, you are my African queen, and I know, oh yes I know. You are my African queen, and I know. See, I know what I am feeling in my heart and in my soul. Oh, I know that it's His love, and I know that this love was surely sent from up above. Cause you're the only one that I think of. You are my African queen, and I know that it means that you're the only one that I will serve. I'll give you my heart, my love, my body and my money. Every other thing you think of. In a man who could think of anything better than you? Who could think of ever hurting you? Sacrifice my all, I'll give it all to you. You are my African queen, for real. You are my African queen, the girl of my dream, the girl of my dream. Where I've never been. Oh, na na, yeah. Oh, lolly, you are my African queen. You are my African queen, girl of my dream, my African. You remind me of a thing. Oh, that is the African. So black, so beautiful. I love you, I love you, I love you, I love you. Munyemo, I love you, I love you, I love you. Munyemo, I love you.
You Are My African Queen, a song by Two-Face Idibia, and before that we played You Salakeba, title that is a song by Papa Wemba. 15:20 Central African Time. If you have just joined us, a very warm welcome to Africa at Play. Let's now cross over to Lusaka, Zambia for Namuchana, our correspondent, to introduce the topic of the day, where we're talking about World Netball Youth Cup, where Zambia failed to be part of the tournament due to traveling challenges, and as a result, World Netball removed them from the participation list, which is disturbing indeed, because this is a team that went through the pain of qualifying for this tournament during the qualifiers that took place at the Sunbet Arena in Pretoria. And now, after all the hard work of qualifying, the team was unable to travel to Gibraltar. Let's go to Lusaka.
World Netball has kicked out Zambia and Sri Lanka from the ongoing World Netball Youth Cup after both teams failed to arrive on time for the games. Zambia failed to secure visas for their team to Gibraltar. We're asking some sporting codes qualified to big tournaments like the Olympics but failed to participate due to various reasons. Is it the duty of governments or mother bodies like World Netball to help local associations whenever they are faced with challenges? This is our topic today, and I have with me Wezi Mazonda. Wezi, thank you so much for having taken time to talk to us. Very, very disappointing news that is coming from the Zambia Netball Association. Zambia, as we are talking now, it has been kicked out by World Netball due to the association failing to secure visas on time for them to go and participate in the Under-21 Netball World Cup in Gibraltar. Wezi, what are your views?
It's a sad situation, really. When news broke, I was actually broken. I'm a strong advocate for women participation in sport, and I know the challenges that women's sport faces, especially countries, sporting codes where you have to send men and women. It's another issue altogether. But women in the past and even now to some extent, not with us, Zambia. For Zambia, I think I want to give an example of the Copper Queens. The Copper Queens you see today are actually a testimony of how they've transformed based on advocacy, strong advocacy, in having to work so hard to look for resources and to put into women's sport, allocate equal resources that you give to the men and the women, the girls and the boys. And it shows that the sport itself, Copper Queens, the female footballers, have really appreciated it. And Southern Africa must be proud. Africa must be proud to see the brand, what it's doing, where it's coming from. This is a team that was beaten by cricket scorelines by South Africa, and teams like Nigeria, teams from West Africa used to dominate Copper Queens today. But today, before you meet Copper Queens, you really have to prepare yourself, which is good and good for competition and raises the levels of competition in the game. Why am I talking about this? I'm talking about this because it can happen even for a sport like netball. So the challenge mainly has been the financing. That I will not lie. Even Sri Lanka, I'm sure they'll tell you their own story, but I'm speaking from Zambia. Finances are so hard to come by. I don't know if it's the issue of selling the brand, sponsors not believing so much in the brand, I don't know. Government, I always like to say, can come in as an assistant, because with government, they've got a lot of competing factors. Government is like a parent looking at different sectors, helping out different vulnerable situations. Yes, government should also sit and see the importance of investing in sport, because sport is a big business. I've said it on a number of occasions, that sport is a big business. These youths that you see roaming around with so much energy, putting them in negative vices and everything, these are youths, given the time and energy spent on them planning very well, they will give money to the nation. Any underprivileged nation, any developing nation, this is the strength of any nation. So for teams that fail to qualify they qualify quite all right for sporting events, but then fail to go there, it's because of the financial resources. Trust me, they try. So for the netball situation, they actually saying that the executives had to put money together, putting money together to ensure that they raise money for visas. And that's a huge sacrifice, because you're talking about members of netball who have families as well, who they have to look after their families. And that already is a huge sacrifice on their part. There are certain sacrifices that we don't see as people, as outsiders. Everybody just wants a side of the story. But this is quite challenging. The one who's mostly broken here is the athlete, the girl. She's very broken. I'm looking at this girl coming from a vulnerable background in a community where she has nothing. And this is an opportunity for her to break out of the cycle of poverty. And then you have an opportunity like this. I'm going to the World Cup. I'm going to work hard, ensure that I help my team be the best, become the best, especially that you have role models from football. Like Zambia now, we have Copper Queens, Barbara Banda and Rachel Kundananji, two of the most expensive players in the world recently. Like we all know, that is the life you want to see. Today, a girl in Zambia who's in sport can sleep and dream to say that one day I'm going to move in those footsteps. It can happen in Zambia here, and any other girl in Africa can believe. And obviously these are things that every association should fight to ensure that they represent the girl child very well. And the association has tried in their way. So depending on government per se, I feel is not the right thing to do, but just trying as much as possible to reach out to the corporate world. I think that is where the key issue is. Get the right marketing executives. I know, I'm aware Netball Zambia contracted some marketing company which eventually just disappeared. I don't know why, I don't know how. Really sad. Maybe they assessed the situation and just saw that this is just impossible happening. Maybe looking at the brand and what it was capable of offering. But that is just sad. It's really sad. You really need to go out there, knock to the market and bring something on board. We have an association here in Zambia, the Zambia Athletics Association. They have a competition, intercompany relay, that brings a number of corporate together, and through that competition they're able to raise funds for the athletes to participate in international competitions. No wonder you get to see athletics before big world championships and sporting codes like the Olympic. You're able to see them preparing towards this event. I think maybe we need more of such initiatives by various associations in sports. Need to start thinking in that direction. How do you bring the corporate world closer? How do you have conversations with them? How do you get to network with them? I think networking is the key word now. You need to start networking, sit down and bring government closer as well. As you're doing this networking, let government be there on the negotiating table, or is it engaging? Let them talk, let government be there so that they see the need and see the seriousness of how much what you put in is going to help the girl child. But the bottom line here is financial resources. Most of the times you get to look, you just hit a snag. You try this area, you're not helped. Everybody gives you promises. I don't want to blame the sponsors because they also have their own issues. Maybe it's also, you need some policy guide or something. They should see some value. I think they should also be areas to see, because I'm sure the corporates would be so excited if they are to see, for example, our Boro Morocco's concept, where you have the facilities, they are there, you are hosting these events. They'll get excited. They'll say, okay, if we put in our monies in here, at least it's a partnership that's working for us. So where you don't have, obviously, you need to be very strategic in, how you tackle this issue. And then you also need to look into areas that really bring in money slowly. Slowly, I mean, the team qualified for the World Cup last year. So last year, and this is September this year. year. They knew they had qualified. So from the day they had qualified, I think maybe they needed to put up an initiative of raising money through coins. You know, you just start with a few coins. Everybody's putting, some fundraising venture. You come up with fundraising ventures. Try anyway. Wash cars. Do whatever you can. Starting from way back, because there's a lot of time that you have. With at least good amount that you manage to raise. When you raise that amount, every time you go knocking, you tell people, we've got this amount of money that we've raised based on whatever activities we've done, fundraising activities. Try as much as you can to just come up with these activities. And then, like, I like the coin idea because everybody's putting in a coin, and obviously not everybody will put in a coin. Another person will probably have 5 coins, 10 coins, and more. So you just say the least is a coin and engage even just ordinary citizens. Everybody can come in, just please. Another thing is talk, speak. A closed mouth is a closed destiny. Speak. When you have a problem as an association, utilize media. That's why we're here. Speak to the media. Go on media programs. When they invite you, tell you from the day that you qualify, not a month before you go and then you say, no, I want to bring it. No. The day that you qualify. So if you're qualifying September this year, and then you are going to play the World Cup in September next year, you start now, today, after qualifying, the noise, you start to make it, they call it noise, but it's good noise because at least it's bringing in something. So that whenever everybody sleeps, everybody's talking and walking and they're saying, oh, okay, these netball people, oh, this sport is all over us, buzzing like a bee in our ear, bringing out all these noises and everything. But it's good noise. It's good noise. Why do I say this? Because this has the ability to transform the lives of these young girls. They who come from vulnerable communities. It's not about now. It's about the next generation. What is so painful and what hurts me so much, why my heart bleeds, is because opportunities like the World Cup make your team so strong. I had earlier talked about the Copper Queens brand and how it's grown today. It's because they were given a chance to participate in regional COSAFA competitions. There, the exposure that they got grew in confidence, got the best of their abilities. Now look at how they're challenging at the African level. They have been to world events. They are just not the same again. So if this opportunity can go to any other sport, netball today, volleyball, basketball, all the other sports, I think Africa will be doing good to our female athletes as well as just different sporting codes.
Wezi, thank you so much for having taken time to talk to us.
Thank you very much.
So I also have with me Isaac Chipatanga. Isaac, thank you so much for having taken time to talk to us. Isaac, very disturbing news that Zambia and Sri Lanka have been kicked out of the World Netball Cup after both teams failed to arrive on time for the tournament. Isaac, we know that some sporting codes qualified to big tournaments like the Olympics but failed to participate due to various reasons. Now, is it the duty of governments or mother bodies like World Netball to help local associations whenever they're faced with challenges? What are your views?
The fact that the Zambia under-21 netball national team has been disqualified from the Netball World Cup going in Gibraltar is a very, very big disappointment and sad development for the sport in this country. Let me begin with the top, because I believe that every sport, especially in the African continent, is largely dependent on, government support. In this regard, it means that the Ministry of Sport in the country needs to play a crucial role to ensure that sport is administered in the correct manner. And of course, I know this is a problematic topic in its own way, because it's a thin line, especially when it comes to football, between government support and, of course, government interference, as it is deemed by the world governing body. Coming back to the issue of the under-21 netball national team, first and foremost, it's very disappointing for the players themselves, who I think put in a lot, the technical bench put in a lot, the coaching staff and all of them are put in a lot to ensure that they qualified for this particular tournament. And this tournament would have given them an opportunity to showcase their skills on an international stage and possibly even get, better contracts, as, many scouts, many agents would have been at this particular tournament. And in an event that 1 or 2, maybe even 3 Zambian netball players showcase their talent well at this particular tournament, can earn contracts that can be life-changing, but also the experiences that they would get if they manage to secure 1 or 2 contracts beyond our borders, where the leagues are much stronger, the pay is much better. They bring back that experience and ensure that, the national team performs better at future tournaments, whether it's at under 21 level or indeed at the senior level. The other thing to note is that these are termed as minor sports. And I know that the president of the country has said there is no minor sports and each sport will get equal attention and equal support from the government. But as you can rightly see, this is not the case with what transpired with the netball under-21 national team. Clearly, I think the netball Zambia and of course the ministry, I think could have done better, because this team qualified months ago. So to tell us that they were failing or securing visas on the 11th hour leaves much to be desired. Somebody must have done the homework You recall that, especially in football and other sports, and I want to believe that this is the case also with netball, we always have what we call an advanced party. So when Zambia qualified for this particular tournament, did we have an advanced party of technical experts from Zambia who traveled to Gibraltar to probably look at the training facilities? Remember that you don't play every day in these tournaments. Maybe you've got 1 or 2 rest days in between games. And for me, that's when you need an advanced party to go to the hosting nation. In this case, it's Gibraltar, to actually go and see the training facilities and the match venues. And also, I think to secure visas and travel arrangements well on time provides the team to arrive on time in the hosting nation, in this case Gibraltar, also to acclimatize, because let's not forget that, the climate or the weather pattern between Zambia and Gibraltar is quite, different. So the players themselves need an opportunity, to acclimatize. Normally experts would tell us 72 hours before a match is good enough for them to acclimatize to the new environment, the new weather, conditions prevailing in that, hosting nation or hosting city or whatever you want to call it. So I think in many ways the authorities, both the government through the Ministry of Sport and indeed Netball Zambia, have really, really let down, those young girls who I think worked tirelessly, and the technical team that worked tirelessly to ensure that they qualified for this particular tournament, which in many ways would have been a benchmark to springboard their, careers as players into international stardom, and thus, change the trajectory in terms of women's netball in the country. That has not always been given the rightful support as can be seen in this particular instance. Also, what needs to be noted is that the Ministry of Sport should learn that it is the Ministry of Sport. It's not the Ministry of Football, because if this was a case in football where a team qualifies for a World Cup in this country and we fail to secure visas or whatever it is to ensure our participation at that particular tournament, there would have been a huge uproar. If you look on social media, there's very little that is being written, and that shows you that even the public itself, has got very little interest in the sport itself. So that is a sad development in its own right. So for me, I would like to see a situation whereby action is taken against whoever was tasked with the rights to ensure that, the team does secure visas on time to ensure that they participate at this particular tournament, and whoever was in charge of any logistics other than, the visas, whether it's air tickets and so on and so forth. Unacceptable that a team qualifies for a tournament months ahead of that particular tournament. Probably it's even a year, I'm not even sure. I think the tournaments in terms of qualification started in 2024. So you cannot tell me you've got more than 6 months or whatever it is, and a team association, in this case Netball Zambia, and the ministry failed to get, tickets and visas that will enable the team to ensure that they gain entry to Gibraltar and compete at this particular tournament. So those are my thoughts on this particular issue. I think heads need to roll, because I think an example needs to be set, and the standards also need to be set, that in the future this sort of a thing should not repeat itself. So that is my submission on a very sad development for netball, a very sad day for the sport in this particular country.
Isaac, thank you so much for having taken time to talk to Channel Africa. The views of Isaac Chipatanga, sports expert. Today we were looking at the sad news that the World Netball has kicked out Zambia and Sri Lanka from the ongoing World Netball Youth Cup after both teams failed to arrive on time for the games. Zambia failed to secure visas for their team to Gibraltar. Some sporting codes qualified to big tournaments like the Olympics but failed to participate due to various reasons. We were asking, is it the duty of governments or mother bodies like World Netball to help local associations whenever they're faced with challenges? Today we had Isaac Chipatanga and Wesi Masunda for Channel Africa Sports. I'm Chana from Zambia.
15:36 Central African Time. Thank you to Mmatsheko and the Netball Pundits for sharing their thoughts on our topic of the day, where we're talking all things to netball, with Zambia and Sri Lanka having been disqualified to participate at the ongoing World Netball Youth Cup that is taking place in Gibraltar. And we got to hear that Zambia couldn't be part of this tournament because of travel documents that were not in order and not sorted on time for the team to travel. Sad story indeed. We've got some voice notes. Bongani Chuma.
Good afternoon, Neto, and the listeners. This is Bongani Chuma from Indonesia. Look, Neto, the associations that are failing to do their administrative duties, therefore failing the athletes to be able to participate at the international stages, shame on them, Neto, because you really need to get your house in order. Do your research, do your preparation in time. You benchmark how other associations are doing it, such as cricket, such as football, such as rugby. They are doing so well internationally, so they know how to navigate around those terrains. The other issue is the geopolitics. The geopolitics, the government is well placed to know what goes on around some of these preparations. Therefore, they are well placed to even advise you properly how to even apply for the visas, how to travel in different countries. So those administrators, they didn't do their part. They are failing the athletes. Unfortunately, I'm saying shame on them again.
15:38 Central African Time. Bongani Juma not impressed with the administration disorder and says those administrators or the federations that are failing to do their administrative duties on time to ensure that athletes get to international destinations in good time to participate in these global events should be dealt with decisively. Let's take another voice note. Apiwe Ngwenya.
Hi, Africa Play. This is Apiwe Ngwenya. I think that it is the responsibility of the mother body to ensure that they make ways and means for their teams to attend world competition, simply because, government can't really focus on a lot of sports teams, etc. There's other pressing matters, but should a mother body require the assistance of government in terms of money, getting visas, etc., then they should approach them in time. For example, if we had to look at the South African hockey teams, when it comes to the Olympics, our sports department, our government sports department, quickly told the mother body that it won't fund the hockey teams in going into the Olympics. So even if they do qualify by winning the African Cup, they still won't send them to the Olympics. So as to allow for another team, another country to prepare to actually go to competitions. So if Zambia and the Sri Lankans had made earlier means to get their teams to the competition, that would have been great. If they had agreements with their governments to send the teams, it would have been great. They would have been there on time, instead of trying to make means and something falls through and another team can't take over. So I think it's something that needs to be done while they are qualifying for these competitions, and to have an agreement between the mother body and government if they're able to actually send them to such competitions.
That's a voice note from Apiwe Ngwenya sharing her thoughts on our topic of the day. Let's take one more voice note from Eric Lechweleng, a football commentator.
Good afternoon, Africa at Play. This is Eric Lechweleng from Midrand. This situation with Zambia and Sri Lanka being kicked out of the World Netball Youth Cup is crazy, right? But when it comes to whether it's the duty of governments or mother bodies like World Netball to help local associations with challenges, I'd say both play a role, but in different ways. So mother bodies like World Netball, it's their responsibility, like I said earlier on, by making sure that they play a big role in terms of, as the big sisters of the netball globally. They are responsible for setting rules, organizing tournaments, and kinda overseeing the sport's growth. If local associations like Zambia are facing challenges like visa issues for tournaments, World Netball might have some protocols or support system in place to help navigate these issues, but ultimately they gotta enforce rules like punctuality for tournaments participation. Governments can play a part in helping with things like visa processes, especially if they are pushing for their country's sports development. In Zambia's case, if government support was lacking for getting visa for the team to Gibraltar, that could have contributed to their disqualification. Government can assist with the logistics of diplomatic efforts to help their participation in international events. Thank you, sir. Nice show.
Africa, meet Abedi.
Yeah, that's me.
Abedi is a music lover through and through.
I really love African music.
He's got a taste for all kinds of tunes and spends his days listening to Channel Africa. Guess what? He didn't know.
Okay.
Channel Africa wants to help Abedi and all music lovers everywhere to discover even more incredible music. That is why Channel Africa is calling on all African musicians to submit their music. Musicians, remember to give us all your relevant information. Make your submissions at music@channelafrica.co.za. Submissions are your chance to be heard on radio. But sadly, they do not guarantee that you will be playlisted. All submissions will be carefully reviewed to see if they meet our station's requirement. Channel Africa, the African perspective. Africa at Play with Neto, N-E-T-O, Chemane.
15:43 Central African Time. If you have just joined us, a very warm welcome to Africa at Play. As Delel Siashaya, we are welcoming to the conversation Tony Payne, who is a co-founder of Technogym Southern Africa. When brothers get along, him and his brother Kevin came together for a good cause, and we will be talking about the critical role fitness equipment plays in helping professional athletes perform at their highest level. The conversation will also examine how emerging technologies, including artificial intelligence, are transforming the wellness landscape. Particularly attention will be given to how advanced performance tracking tools and data analytics are being used to monitor athletes' physical condition with greater precision, enabling tailored and training and recovery strategies that support long-term health and peak performance. Tony, a very good afternoon and a warm welcome to Africa at Play.
Yeah, good afternoon. Thank you for having me on the show with you.
Thank you so much for joining us. Happy Heritage Month.
Yeah, we have. It's a busy time. We actually have our founder from the Technogym Italy coming out next week to open our new showroom in Johannesburg. So lots of planning, but it's been a great month.
Interesting indeed. I'm happy to hear that it's been a great month. When talking Technogym Southern Africa, what are we talking about and what inspired you and your brother Kevin coming together with this great initiative?
Well, I mean, we grew up in a family that actually used to own some gyms. We're talking back in the early 80s. And then I studied a sports science degree. We started manufacturing gym equipment in the early days, making some medical technology devices. And in 1995, Technogym, an Italian company now listed on the Italian Stock Exchange in global business, came to South Africa and was looking for partners. And we were lucky enough to work with them. We were lucky enough to open up with the original sports minister, Steve Shweti, the first gym at the Tshwane University of Technology. And it's been a great journey since then. We have over 1 million people now in South Africa using the equipment on a daily basis.
In what ways, Tony, has modern sports and fitness equipment been engineered with the athletes' specific needs and performance goals in mind?
Already, if you look at what's changed, the biggest innovation now has been the integration of advanced electronics, robotics, precision data systems, and AI. And what this allows us now to do is to go create highly personalized programs and precise assessments, both like in the testing phase, but also during live performance.
You also have a philosophy that says healthiness. What does healthiness mean?
Yeah, well, healthiness is interesting because it continues with this point about hyper personalization. So really, if we looked at it in our fitness world, we started with bodybuilding in the early days. Like if you look at it in fitness, where bodybuilding was about having good biomechanics, solid machine design. And in the fitness era, we added into the cardiovascular machines more electronics that allowed us to do some programming, feedback, automation. Then we had the wellness era. If you look at that, these are all additive. They don't replace each other, but that allowed for or required us to have personalization. So it was central. Digital platforms, CRM systems allowed us to do different types of programs for different users, for athletes, for beginners, for people with injuries, or even those with like weight loss goals or metabolic health. But the key thing of what we talk about in this healthiness era is this new frontier where you need hyper-personalization. So it's beyond exercise alone. It also integrates other aspects of the athlete or the person's life, so nutrition, sleep, recovery, performance, all delivered at the right time, periodized, automated, and adaptive. So AI has been really an essential part to achieve this. And this evolution of health is this framework that allows us to go from prevention, rehabilitation, optimization, and it's a journey. So it really allows us to follow the people, wherever they are and in terms of their goals, but making sure that the programs adapt.
If you have just joined us, a very warm welcome to Africa at Play. We are in the middle of a conversation with a co-founder of Technogym Southern Africa, Tony Payne, and of course he's in this business together with his brother Kevin. Tony, talk to us about Kevin. What kind of a brother is he? I'm certain he's a good brother, otherwise you wouldn't be in business together.
Absolutely. You know, it's one of those things. I think working in a business with family, it's one thing you can trust each other. You, at the end of the day, if you've had a tough day or you disagree, you're always going to be back around the dinner table at some point. So that's been good. But I think we also complement each other with some different skill sets. We're both entrepreneurs, but Kevin's very structured. He likes data. He likes to make sure that we don't we keep going in the right direction with the company in terms of the structure. I'm quite entrepreneurial, and I like to see where we can grow and take care of new advantages and drive new revenue. So I think that balance of the governance and the structure, his skill set, my skill set, works well. So it works well for us.
How does data measurement and performance tracking systems contribute to helping athletes maintain peak performance levels?
Well, this is critical because actually training is a form of stress. So training is a stress and your body adapts to it. And what the data allows us is it ensures that the stress is applied at the right level, enough for growth, but without tipping us over into overload or breakdown. And so we see now with wearables, like they monitor heart rate variability, sleep quality, recovery. Sometimes even now we're using biomarker testing, blood work, gut health, even DNA and genetic testing will allow us to get deeper insights. And this, these quick readiness tests that we do also when athletes are working allows us to give the right training programs. And even now, also we've developed machines like BioStrength, which is a robotic strength equipment, was developed with NASA actually for people in space where there's no gravity. And these machines allow us to do very precise resistance loads. So we can do things like elastic loads or eccentric overloads or even like drop sets or contrast training. So this means we can be much, much more precise in the way that we stress the body or the way that we create the exercise, but then also the way that we measure it to make sure that we're getting the exact amount. We can see that the athletes are improving, that they're getting the right dose at the right time and not getting too much.
15:50 Central African Time. We take a short break. When we come back, we will continue our conversation with Tony Payne at Technogym Southern Africa, co-founder together with his brother Kevin. This is Africa at Play. Tony, please just stay on the line.
Thank you.
The Midnight Snack, 12 to 3 a.m.
Our fitness coach, her name is Yvonne Dimakatso Pasha. How to remain consistent with gyms, Dima, and I'm going to put you on the spot right now. As we are talking, I will send you my picture and I want you to tell me what you think I should work on. Because, when I look at myself, Dima, I think I'm very handsome. I'm so good looking, oh my goodness. Like here at Channel Africa where I work, I think I'm one of the most good-looking people ever. Like sometimes when I look at myself in the mirror, I never get used to how good I look. I'm just amazing.
You're okay with the way you're looking. You wish people could and now you want to put me on the spot.
do I need gym?
Yeah. I mean, if you can just consider eating healthy, cutting down a few foodstuffs such as junk.
The Midnight Snack, every Monday, 12 to 3 a.m. with Chanduko Ligege. From football fields to finish lines,
Elliot Kipchoge storms into the history books.
Neto Chemane brings you sports on Africa at Play.
15:52 Central African Time. A very warm welcome to Africa at Play. We are live every Saturday and Sunday from 2 to 5 p.m. Central African Time on DSTV Audio Bouquet Channel 802 or OpenView 628 if you are in South Africa. If not, worry not, you can always reach us from anywhere in the world on channelafrica.co.za. Tony, thank you so much for staying on the line. What a time to be alive in the days of artificial intelligence, shortened for AI. Can you explain how this artificial intelligence is being integrated into the health and wellness devices, and particularly in the context of an athletic training and recovery program?
Absolutely, yeah. So AI is a game changer. It's really actually just turned the machines into adaptive digital coaches. It links assessments with prescription nutrition, automatically setting loads, range of motion, program design. But it also allows these programs to then evolve dynamically, adjusting the progress, the fatigue, and the compliance. Features on some of the machines that we've even got smart spotter devices, so that as the person's fatiguing, it'll start to assist them to train correctly. And then what this is also important because it integrates from the testing phase. So we've got a product called Checkup, which actually does a range of tests, so from a strength test, body composition, does even a mental ability test in terms of the speed or memory. We look at balance. We look at mobility as well, and then that can actually be designed to look to very specific, hyper-personalized programs that allow this combining of all of this data to get the ultimate response for these athletes. And really, the good thing is that this can be constantly monitoring. It has triggers. We can put it into automated pathways and journeys, and it just makes this ability again, as I say, to move from a thing that was kind of personalized in the right direction, but now it's hyper-personalized for each athlete. And we can do that on scale now. And actually what's nice about this is that we can do it not just for elite athletes who had access to visiting coaches, but we can start to do it across the board. And so we can bring it into schools, we can bring it into universities, corporates, and actually we can try and make it a lot more accessible to people across the spectrum. So that's I think is really what's making it exciting about living in this era.
And Tony, why is data accuracy so critical in sports and wellness technology, and what innovations are we talking about in ensuring the reliability of this data?
Well, data is the foundation of a safe and effective progression. So any inaccurate data could lead to injuries or over or under training, which can create risks of breakdown. And so what we really seeing is that the measurement devices you'll see like wearables now. I mean, I don't know if you just saw recently the Apple the smartwatch was just certified by the FDA, the United States Federal Drug Administration, to be able to be a medical device to measure blood pressure. So these measurements of sleep, heart rate variability, load, training load, are all critical to now make sure that they can happen in real time, so that we actually can make sure that we can train people at the optimal level. And these metrics that are coming from the data, because they're integrated down to these data-based AI systems, become actionable immediately in terms of training guideline, recovery, and long-term deployment.
And Tony, as we wrap up this conversation, with Technogym Southern Africa being part of the global brand, you will officially be launching the showroom on the 2nd of October in Dunkeld through an event where the president of Technogym Global will be present. Talk to us more about this upcoming launch, but also your footprint in Southern Africa. Which countries are we talking about? Are you confined to Southern Africa, or can you grow big into other parts of the African continent?
So it's a great comment, so thank you. Yeah, we're excited about the launch. We've got, as I said, some really interesting people coming. We work with teams like Kaizer Chiefs. We work with the rugby teams like the Bulls and the Springboks. They had an amazing game last night. So we've got a number of those different athletes coming. I think Wade Finnick is coming. He's one of the athletes that uses us, and Natalie DeToy. So really excited for that. The business where we have at the moment, we work in 11 countries in terms of the contract. So it's South Africa, all of our neighbors in the SADC region, all the way up to Zambia, Zimbabwe. We go offices across also in Mauritius and Seychelles. We work across Madagascar, Mauritius and Seychelles. But we do work as a hub to support a number of different projects across the continent. So, for example, in the Africa Cup of Nations, when it was in Cote d'Ivoire, we supplied all the equipment for all the athletes, for the teams that were training there. We do work in the Congo. We work across in East Africa as well. And our goal is actually to make this expansion from the Southern African hub. We employ over 180 people here across the two businesses that do the operations for the wellness programs, but also for the equipment supply. We're looking to use that as a lever to really support growth across the sub-Saharan African continent.
Tony Payne is the Technogym Southern Africa co-founder together with his brother Kevin, and they are doing amazing work out there. It is those times of the artificial intelligence, and unfortunately we can never turn back the hands of time to the historic moments. We've got to go on with the latest technology with hope that it enhances and harms no one. Tony, thank you so much for talking to us on Africa at Play. Before I let you go, your parting shot?
No, just super important, the guys. Now there's a move, in the world. We have agency over our health. We also always just talk about longevity, just living longer. The real speak now is about healthy longevity or health span. And we know now that exercise is a medicine. We are very clear in terms of the good quality, having good strength, good high cardiorespiratory fitness, so good VO2 max, will have a potential to reduce 50% of all risk of dying of any disease in there. So I just encourage people to get moving. Even a little makes a big difference, but go find someone to help you. Focus on your strength, focus on your cardio. You've got so much information these days about how to eat well, and make sure that you live a really positive life that has an incredible quality throughout its life. We don't have to get that bad quality of mobility or disability towards the end of a life. It is in our hands now. So I encourage people to move for a better life and for a better world.
There you have it from the co-founder of Technogym Southern Africa, Tony Payne, who is in this business together with his brother Kevin. Tony, thank you so much for talking to us on Africa at Play. All the best moving forward.
Thank you, everyone. Have a lovely Sunday. The rest of it.
15:59 Central African Time. That's how we wrap up our Technogym Southern Africa conversation, zooming into the latest technology that has an impact in athletes' lives, enhancing them and helping them with all sort of technological options. That was Tony Payne, who is the co-founder of Technogym Southern Africa. Let's update you with action that is currently underway. Zooming into the CAF Champions League matches that are currently underway. Nsingizzi Hotspurs of Eswatini is up against Simba Bora of Zimbabwe, and that match is currently 0-0. The match is on a halftime break. Police FC of Kenya is up against Mogadishu City, and the match is currently 1-0 in favor of Mogadishu City, leading Police FC, also on a halftime break. Another match on a halftime break is Simba Sports Club of Tanzania up against Gaborone United. Simba Sports Club leading by a 1-0, and we will continue to update you on all things different sporting codes in terms of action that is currently underway. We are officially saying goodbye to the second hour of Africa at Play as we head straight to the third and final exciting hour of Africa at Play.
Hi there. Do you want to elevate your business and give it a voice in South Africa and Africa as a whole? Well, in that case, let Channel Africa make this a possibility. Channel Africa is willing to advertise your business for as little as 30,000 rands or $1,719.18. To get access to these great rates, send all requests to mukwena@SABC. That's KOENATA@SABC. Channel Africa, the African perspective. Are you fluent in French, Chinyanja, Portuguese, and Kiswahili? Are you passionate about radio? And are you looking to work in South Africa? Do you have papers that qualify you to work in South Africa? In that case, we might have an opportunity for you to work for Channel Africa. Send us your CV and demo at newsroom@channelafrica.co.za. Remember, if you don't hear from us within 14 days, it means you have not made it or you have not been selected. Channel Africa, the African perspective. Africa at Play with Neto and ETO Chemane.
16:01 Central African Time. This is Africa at Play, live every Saturday and Sunday from 2 to 5 p.m. Central African Time on DSTV Audio Bouquet Channel 802 or OpenView 628 for those based in South Africa. If you're out of the country, worry not. You can always reach us from any corner of the world on channelafrica.co.za. My name is Neto and ETO Chemane. We are together until 5 p.m. Central African Time. Discontent is growing among Manchester United fans. One of the greatest clubs in the Premier League history is in serious trouble and the faithful are losing patience. Our UK-based sport correspondent, Gesham Sajinyati, has more.
Manchester United sit 14th in the Premier League table, just 2 wins from 6 games with 1 draw and 3 defeats. Yes, it's early in the season, but the signs are worrying. Yesterday, they were humbled 3-1 by Brentford, and now the calls are getting louder. Many fans want the manager, Ruben Amorim, gone. It wasn't just Man U making headlines for the wrong reasons. The reigning league champions Liverpool suffered their first defeat of the season, a shock 2-1 loss to Crystal Palace. Other results yesterday: Sunderland edged Nottingham Forest 1-0. Tottenham and Wolves shared the spoils in a 1-1 draw. Chelsea were outplayed, losing 3-1 to Brighton. And Manchester City turned on the tide, thrashing Burnley 5-1. Looking ahead, it's a super Sunday lineup today. Aston Villa versus Fulham is underway, and later, a late kickoff, a big one, Arsenal versus Newcastle United. And finally, a sad note from the world of athletics. Top Ethiopian marathon runner Elene Shawage has died at the age of 30. I saw her just in May when she won the Stockholm Marathon in Sweden, a brilliant performance. She was set to return next year as the defending champion, but after feeling unwell during a training session this week, she was rushed to hospital and tragically passed on. Gershom Nyati for Africa at Play.
16:04 Central African Time. That is Gershom Nyati, originally from Southern Africa in Zimbabwe, but currently based in the United Kingdom. Saji, good afternoon and a warm welcome to Africa at Play.
Thank you very much, Neto.
Perhaps let's start with the sad news. Tell us more about this Ethiopian runner. It's just, shocking how short life is. A 30-year-old is still a baby.
Yeah. Alene Shewage was a promising marathon runner. She really had a good future ahead of her. And I saw at the Stockholm Marathon in Sweden in May, and she easily won that particular event. And obviously, as a champion, the organizers in the Swedish capital were prepared to invite to come back to Stockholm Marathon, which is scheduled for next year around May again. But unfortunately, she has been training in Ethiopia for other upcoming marathon events. And after a training session, suddenly she felt unwell. She was taken to the hospital, and unfortunately, she just passed away. Just very sad, very young athlete indeed, 30 years old.
May her soul rest in peace. Gershom Nyati, our encyclopedia of global athletics. So this time around, we're also talking the game of football, looking at the Premier League, where we got to witness a team like Brentford, that is the Bees, beating Manchester United, the Red Devils, by 3-1 yesterday. They've decided to be the giant killers. Another side that has decided to be a giant killer was Crystal Palace, beating Liverpool by 2-1. I spoke to a passionate Mamelodi Sundowns fan, Oscar Nzinzi, who was saying Crystal Palace will beat Mamelodi Sundowns by 2-1, and he was spot on his predictions. It's amazing how someone can predict a score and it comes out just as prescribed by the doctor. Saji, your reflection to Manchester United, not able to see the moments of victory, not able to dance to the final whistle, but also Liverpool suffering their first loss on the hands of Crystal Palace, who have decided to be a top 5 material in this new season.
Yes, big problems for Manchester United still going on. You may remember that the new manager, the Portuguese manager, Ruben Amorim, he took over from
Erik Ten Hag, yes.
Not long ago. He was sacked. They thought this new manager was going to maybe make the team start to win games and things like that. But they appear to be still sinking. No good results. They are really struggling. And lots of people, they are getting disgruntled, particularly their fans in the UK and abroad. They now really want the coach to be sacked. But we don't know what is going to happen. But I think the coach is heading for the sack in the near future. Yes, you have said that Liverpool, who are the league defending champions, They were beaten by Crystal Palace. Crystal Palace are playing good football. They're actually a very good side. They're always trying their best, and they've inflicted some harm on the defending champions, Liverpool. So that's how the game is. And surprisingly, some big teams like Tottenham Hotspur and Chelsea, they seem not to be getting the good balance. But, well, still the same. There's a lot of entertainment in the football league. And today, they call it the Super Sunday. There's a big match, which is a late kickoff. The Gunners are now taking on Newcastle. Newcastle, they're a good side, but unfortunately, you may remember that they lost their top player, Alexander Isak, who went to Liverpool. So they could be struggling a little bit, but it should be an entertaining game. And Arsenal also, they've got some injuries concerned. Bukayo Saka is not playing. Their captain Odegaard is also having some injuries. So we wait and see how this game is going to pan out today. At the moment, Aston Villa versus Fulham, it's a 1-1 draw. It's a 1-1 draw.
And Saji, also what caught my attention was yesterday's match between Tottenham Hotspur, who were sitting on the third position, and they took on Wolves, who are in the basement of the Premier League, who have played 5 matches without registering a single point. It took their 6th match against Spurs to finally get a point, having played to a 1-1 draw. Of course, they still remain in the basement because number 19, that's West Ham, are sitting on 3 points. So for them to move from that position, they've got to start winning matches. But it's just interesting that Tottenham was on 3rd position and they're still in that 3rd position. Crystal Palace, after beating Liverpool, have moved from the 5th position right up to the 2nd position with 12 points. Interesting times indeed.
Yeah, it is. Wolves haven't been playing good football of late. But I think they've made a mark by playing a draw with Tottenham Hotspur. Tottenham Hotspur, our listeners may remember, they've got a new manager who actually came from Brentford, Thomas Frank. He is a good manager. He's trying to build up the team, but we wait and see. And it's still too early in the season at the moment. Even these teams which are not winning, there could be a stage where they will start winning games. We never know. Like maybe Manchester United will start to a quick build-up and start winning games. But unfortunately, it's like it's getting too late. They did the same sort of thing last year, and it looks like it's the same again this year. Yeah, so there's always good balance in football. You find smaller teams beating big teams. So it does happen. So it's something which has to entertain us from the start of the season right up to the end of the season, early next year, around May-ish or August.
16:11 Central African time. We still have Kesham Sajinyati on the line. We take a short break. When we come back, we'll wrap up the conversation by zooming into the space of World Athletics to find out in terms of the calendar of events what's still coming up with Kesham Sajinyati after the short break.
Mix Vibration sur Channel Africa.
Qu'est-ce qui vous a amené à dire ça? Est-ce que vous avez observé un certain nombre d'événements dans la vie? Est-ce que c'était par rapport à une expérience? Est-ce que vous avez rencontré des choses qui vous ont dit il faut de la patience, comme ça les choses vont venir au bon moment et les bons dieux pourra peut-être me visiter?
Oui, c'était justement un conseil que le Seigneur m'avait inspiré pour donner à son peuple, parce qu'il y a la plupart des gens, pendant que Dieu bénit les autres, ils pensent que Dieu les a oubliés, et pendant que Dieu ouvre pour les autres, ils pensent que peut-être Dieu n'a pas pu écouter leurs prières. Alors, ce n'est pas le cas. Alors, Dieu bénit tout un chacun de nous avec son temps. Donc, le temps de Dieu est toujours le meilleur dans la vie de tout un chacun de nous.
Mix Vibration, tous les dimanches de 18h à 19h, temps universel.
From football fields to finish lines,
Eliud Kipchoge storms into the history books.
Mmatsheko brings you sports on Africa at Play.
16:12 Central African Time. If you have just joined us, a very warm welcome to Africa at Play. We are wrapping up a conversation with our legendary correspondent based in the United Kingdom, Mmatsheko Mosito. Saji, before we say goodbye, latest in the world of athletics, what's still coming up?
Yes, we are now in September, just close to the end of the month. October, already the cross-country season has started. Understand a couple of weeks ago there was a cross-country event in South Africa, so that's the start of the cross-country season all over the African continent. There has to be some cross-country events for schools, primary level, secondary schools, and national clubs, and they do it up to regional or provincial championships, cross-country. And here abroad in Europe, cross-country started also. They've got some big events where top cross-country runners from the country are invited to take part, particularly in Spain and other countries. And thereafter, at the end of it, there's a year where they stage the World Cross-Country Championships. So that's what's happening at the moment. And also, most importantly, because it's end of the track and field season, World Athletics are actually looking forward to select the best male and best female athlete of the year, who has to be crowned usually around November time. So that is what is coming up at the moment. And the good news, I think I should preempt this at this stage. I see that the athlete Colin Kepinatipi is likely to be on the list for being chosen maybe the rising athlete. You may get that award or even the athlete of the year, but it will be tough because I know for sure the person who has got the biggest credentials is the pole vault, Mondo Duplantis of Sweden. He's always winning the pole vault and also setting records and records, world records. So yeah, he'll be the Botswana young men and the relay team. They will definitely get some good men.
Mmatsheko Mosito is our correspondent in the United Kingdom, originally from Southern Africa in Zimbabwe. Saji, thank you so much for the update. Have a good afternoon further.
Much appreciated.
16:15 Central African Time. There's a football action in the Hollywood Super League in South Africa, where Copperbelt Ladies is up against the University of Western Cape. Copperbelt Ladies being a good day in the pitch, leading the University of Western Cape, UWC, by a goal to nil. 57 minutes of football has been played. Let's take you to the live action.
Makes headway and she's brought down by Unathi Simayile, to the dismay of Dibatso Sibila. It's already in motion there, and Eddie touched by Simayile, who is going to bring her down. Another goal by Copperbelt would surely make this a little bit more comfortable. UWC, they'll be thinking the next goal needs to belong to them. Ndlovu hits it hard. It's on the right side there. The goalkeeper had that position well covered, and it wasn't directed at the target. In any event, there's lots of power though on it, and the tip is right. The direction just could have been better by Ritabile Ndlovu. Here's the cross looking for Daniels. She may just get a chance now, and it's over the bar for UWC. Huffing and puffing, knocking persistently on the door of Copperbelt Ladies and that of Tshiledi Monye, but so far she's been resolute. The defense has been resolute. And like Tuli has said, they've played as a unit, they've played for one another. Exactly what Coach Dibatso had told them before the game started, that you've got to work for one another on the pitch, press for each other, defend for each other, cover every single blade of grass for one another. which is what they've been able to do here. Lots of pressure by Rameri on Simaile, and she is very calm there, doing her job defensively. So some of the halftime scores around the country include Mamelodi Sundowns leading by 4 goals to 0 against TUT Masatanta. Still a 1-1 at the moment, still a stalemate between SFN.
That is commentary courtesy of SABC Sport. That is Copperbelt ladies up against the University of Western Cape, and Copperbelt is still leading by a narrow 1-0 lead. 1 hour mark, 60 minutes of football has been played. Let's also update you about the World Youth Netball Cup that is taking place in Gibraltar, where England will be taking on South Africa at 5 p.m. Central African time. This is the third place playoff match, and New Zealand is up against Australia in the final to decide who takes on the gold medal. The World Championships under 21, 5th and 8th places. Cook Islands under 21 went down by 54-61 against Malawi under 21, while Jamaica managed to beat Scotland under 21 by 53-44. New Zealand up against South Africa. New Zealand winning that match by 57-56, and this is the Elite Netball Ladies match. That is the International Test Series. 16:18 Central African Time. The dance floor awaits us for good dance moves.
Africa at Play. Beautifully, happily marrying sports and music. Africa at Play with Neto and ETO Chemane.
Maisha yangu wewe, acha nikuimbie, ujue kama tangu nimekuona, nakupenda wewe, hakuna duniani mapendo zaidi. Najua kama haiwezekani, nakupenda wewe, we Bwana wa wengine, sikuwa najua yangu mapendo ya vile kweli nimejaribu kusahau wewe Bwana, lakini mama siwezi. Usinione mbaya, sitakuingilia, mapendo yangu itabaki nje, nakupenda wewe. Acha nikuimbie, maisha yangu wewe, wacha nijiimbie, hata kama wewe huwezi nipenda, nakupenda we Bwana, je wewe Bwana, je
Mornings made better with Peter and Asanda on Rise and Shine, weekdays 6 till 9.
Malawians go to the polls next week in a high-stakes general election where citizens will choose a new president and 229 members of parliament. And this comes 5 years after the country's 2019 election was annulled by the Constitutional Court due to widespread irregularities in a landmark decision that overturned the victory of the then President Peter Mutharika.
I'm not saying we're a perfect government. No, nobody is. I mean, we've seen even South Africa facing challenges with the fuel that's going up and with whatever challenges. But you know what? When you are dealing with an IMF policy that says do not employ so many people because you are going to become a welfare government and all of that, and Dr. Chakwera said I've got high numbers of unemployment. As a government that is answerable to Malawians, we have found IMF policies wanting on many issues. We believe the people who pay us taxes to put us in our positions, we owe them employment at the minimum.
That's Dr. Jesse Kwabila, who's the Minister of Higher Education in Malawi.
Mornings made better with Peter and Asanda on Rise and Shine. Africa at Play with Neto and ETO Chemane.
16:29 Central African Time. You are still tuned in to Africa's number one, Africa at Play, as Deleli Siashaya. If you have just joined us, a very warm welcome. If you have missed out on the Rugby Championship action in week 5 of 6 matches that took place yesterday, New Zealand beat Australia by 33-24, while South Africa, Amapokopoko, beat Argentina, the Los Plumas, by 67-30. And this championship will wrap up next week, Saturday, the 4th of October, in week 6 of 6, where Australia, the Wallabies, will take on New Zealand. And Argentina will be up against South Africa. They will be hosting South Africa this time around. Let's look at the table to see realistically who's likely to walk away victors of this Rugby Championship 2025 edition. South Africa have played 5 matches, currently on 15 points. New Zealand second with 14 points. And Australia lying third on 11 points. Argentina at the basement of the table with 9 points. And all these nations have all played 5 matches. They will wrap up next weekend. If South Africa wins, they will definitely triumph. But if they drop points and New Zealand wins, it will be a different story. Let's welcome Sam Mpoza, our legendary correspondent from East Africa in Kampala, Uganda. Sam Mpoza, a very warm welcome to Africa at Play.
Thank you, sir. NETO Neto Chemane, thank you so much for coming back also, because the last time I talked to Africa at Play, you were not around.
No, I'm back at very strong, my brother, with great energy indeed. Thank you so much for the warm welcome. Let's get on to it. The Uganda Premier League, new format. Please tell us more about this new format.
Well, this is a very sensitive issue here in Uganda, where the Federation of Uganda Football Associations has introduced a new league playing format where the 16 teams in the Uganda Premier League will be playing the first round normally as it has been. Each team will play 15 games, but after that, and in what would have been the second round, now the teams will be split into 2 groups. The top 8 will play their own league, and then the bottom 8 will also play their own league. And then the top 8 will play a league where they will play each other home and away. And then after each team has played 14 games, because they will play home and away. And then they will group them according to points. And then the top 6 teams will be separated from the 8. And then the 6 teams will play another league. The final round, the third round. And then now that is when, and the 6 teams will play home and away game, and from that, it's from the 6 teams that they will choose the winner of the league. Of course, the team that will finish top among the 6 will now be declared the champions of the Uganda Premier League. It's now going to be 3 rounds, but with teams separated. Because first, you play as 16 teams. Each team plays 15 games. Now, instead of going for the second round, they're going to split the 16 teams into 2 groups. Top 8 play their own league. Bottom 8 play their own league. And now from the bottom 8, that's where they will choose the 2 teams that will be relegated back to the lower league. even the top 8, the bottom 8 will be playing after playing 14 games, home and away. They will choose the top 6 from those bottom 8. Then they'll play another third round. Now, the 2 teams from the bottom 8 that will finish as 7th and 8th, and the 2 teams from the top 8 that will finish 7th and 8th, they will be put together after the second round. They'll be put together, and then they'll become 4 teams. Which will also play another third round. And then from that third round, the bottom 2 teams from the 4 teams will go back to the lower league. Then the other 2 teams will remain in the Uganda Premier League, the top tier. So it's a whole complicated thing. Of course, it does not stop at that, because there is also, FOFA has also introduced revenue sharing, whereby from each gate collection, from each match, the gate collection, FOFA will take 10% of the gate collection, which they will take to their accounts. But they are claiming that 10% later, that money, when collected together, put in a pool, it will be given back to the clubs. Now, there is a question that why is FOFA taking this money in the first place? Because if you're going to give it back to the clubs, then why do you take it? Leave it there with the clubs. Why do you first take it and then you bring it back? That's one. Then the other thing is, why should even FOFA take money from the clubs? Because FOFA does not contribute anything to the clubs. The club organizes its own match. At the match, it facilitates the players, it's the team and everyone at its own cost. Then why should FOFA take some money out of the clubs, go get collection? That's also another question, and that is also another point of controversy.
And just
FOFA has, sorry.
Yeah, I wanted to add to that formula, Sempoza, to say, with this new format, what influenced this new format? Because we've been having a format of home and away all along, and suddenly we're sitting with a complicated format where the top 8, you play your opening round, which is 15 matches, and then the top 8 have their own league, the bottom 8 their own league, and then they will choose the relegation teams from the bottom 8 and the champions from the top 8. But why that direction? What influenced this format?
Same question that everyone is asking FOFA. But the only answer they give us is they want to improve competition. But they want the league to be more competitive. They believe under this kind of format, every game will be played as a final. Because in their opinion, in FOFA's opinion, every game matters in this new format. They are saying in the old format, teams would play to avoid the relegation. The moment they acquire points that ensures them that they will not be relegated, then they would cease to compete. They would give away games. That is according to FOFA. And now under this new system, you will play, every game will matter. That's what they're saying.
Interesting indeed. And in total, how many games are we talking versus the traditional 30 that we are used to?
In total, each team, I think, will be playing 34 games in the season.
Will the league complete in time?
Because it was, the teams were 16, so each team would play 28 games. And no, each team would play 30 games. Now, they are saying each team will have 34 games to play.
Will the league complete on time?
Now, that is also another question. Because if you look at the fixtures that they released this recently, you see that they have increased because now the league here in the league was being played on Tuesday of the week, Tuesday and Saturday, Friday and Saturday. That's when we used to have league games in the week. Tuesday, then Friday and Saturday. That's when we used to have games. Now, when you look at the new fixture, the games start on Tuesday up to Sunday. So every day, actually Tuesday up to Saturday. So every day there are at least 2 games that will be played. So they are trying to run after time. So maybe for the fans, every day there will be action for them to go and watch. That is if the fans have that culture of watching games every day. But we don't know whether they will be able to complete the league in time. Because, of course, there are so many other things that come in. There are international games that come in. There are issues. For instance, now we are going into elections in Uganda. We are going into presidential elections in January, but campaigns are starting somewhere around next month, 1 week into next month. The presidential campaigns will be starting. And there is a whole line of elections from presidential up to the village level elections. So the whole country is going to be busy. You never know what comes with the elections. So we don't know, but of course, FUFA insists this is the best format for Uganda, for the football in Uganda. It will increase competition for the players. The issue of time, they think they can finish the league in time. But of course, this is the first time it's going to be played here. And then in Africa, I think, I'm told this kind of league is played somewhere in Europe. Someone was saying near about Sweden. I'm not yet sure about this, but it's kind of complicated.
16:40 Central African Time. We are getting an update from Uganda from our East African correspondent, Sam Mpoza, talking all things East African sport. Sam Mpoza, please do stay on the line. We take a short break. When we come back, we'll wrap up our conversation with Sam Mpoza.
Hi there. Do you want to elevate your business and give it a voice in South Africa and Africa as a whole? Well, in that case, let Channel Africa make this a possibility. Channel Africa is willing to advertise your business for as little as 30,000 rands or $1,719.18. To get access to these great rates, send all requests to mukwena@SABC. That's MOKOENATA@SABC. Channel Africa, the African perspective.
Nkhanza zokhudza amuna ndi azimayi kapena kuti gender based violence GBV zikuononga mioyo komanso kuphwasula midzi. Zikuchitika m'manyumba, m'masukulu, malo ogwirira ntchito ndipo kwambiri mwakachetechete. Koma sizikuyenera kupitirira. Mukazimva yankhulani. Ngati mwakhudzidwa, funani chithandizo. Chifukwa kusachita chilichonse sikuthandiza. Mverani kuma wireless onse 14 a SABC kuchokera lachitatu pa 23 mwezi uno wa Julai kuti mumve zokambirana, malangizo, masewero, zionetsero za maphunziro ndi mafunso okhuza nkhanza za amuna ndi azimayi ndi akatswiri, anthu opulumuka ku nkhanzazi, kukhazikitsa lamulo komanso dziko lonse lokhudzidwa ndi nkhanzazi. Zonsezi pa wireless yomwe mumayikonda ya SABC. Imbirani pa nambala 0800 428 428 kuti munene za nkhanzazi kapena kupeza chithandizo. Nkhanza zokhuza amuna ndi azimayi zimatha ndi inu. Uthenga ukufikani kuchokera ku SABC.
Africa at Play with NATO and ETO Chairman.
16:43 Central African Time. This is Africa at Play, and if you have just joined us, a very warm welcome. We still have our East African correspondent on the line, Sam Mpoza, all the way from Kampala, Uganda. Sam Mpoza, Vipers fans must be happy after eliminating African Stars in the CAF Champions League preliminary round.
Well, yeah, Vipers, you see, this team has ever played the Champions League group stages, and they have, for the last, I think, 4 years, been trying to go back. It hasn't been easy. But this time round, because they have always been losing the first game. This time round, they were fixed against African Stars of Namibia, and they played the first leg away in Namibia, and Vipers won the first leg 1-0. And then the second leg that was played in Uganda yesterday, Vipers still won it by 1-0. And now they go through on 2 goals aggregate, 2-0 goals aggregate, which sends them now to the second round of the CAF Champions League qualifiers. This time they are so hopeful that they'll be able to make the cut and go back into the group stages. The Vipers are the last team, the last club who played in this club championship group stage of the club championship, and there's high hope that they will still go back. But it will depend on how they play a second game, because now that will also matter a lot. And then we also had NEC FC. NEC FC is National Enterprises Corporation. It's a government corporate that formed the team. This team has played in the Uganda Premier League for 2 seasons. The first season, they came close to winning the Uganda Cup. The second season, they finished second in the league. They played now the CAF Confederations Cup qualifiers against Nairobi Stars of Kenya. That leg ended in a 2-2 draw here in Kampala. And yesterday, when they played the second leg in Nairobi, still ended in 1-1 draw. But Nairobi Stars went through on away goals rule because they scored 2 goals in Kampala. NEC were only able to score 1 goal in Nairobi. So NEC is out, Vipers is through, and that means that the Africa Club Championship competitions, it's only Vipers now that have gone through to still represent Uganda on the African continent. That is as they also wait to know whether they will play in the league or not, because Vipers, Sports Club Villa, and NEC FC, those are the 3 teams that refused to sign on the agreement to play this new format. However, FIFA promised they will still be engaging them. Yesterday, we had a press conference in Kampala where FIFA confirmed that Sports Club Villa, Sports Club Vipers, and NEC FC will be playing in the league, though there was no representative from any of the teams. When I talked to the lawyer of Sports Club Villa, he also told me they will tell us in the next 2 days. So we wait probably until tomorrow evening. We shall know whether Villa they have made up their mind to play in the league or not. The Vipers were still very quiet about this because they had a game yesterday. Probably we can hear from them on Monday. But the Uganda Premier League fixtures were out, and yesterday the press conference they told us Sports Club Villa will be playing Kampala Capital City Authority FC at the Mandela National Stadium on Saturday. On the same day, Vipers Sports Club will be taking on Stara FC, and it's going to be a double-header fixture at the Mandela National Stadium, which they think will attract a big number of fans, like we saw in the Chan Championship that just ended recently in Kampala. And I think they are also trying to build a vibe, morale for the Africa Cup of Nations that is soon coming to Kampala in 2027. So that is how things are standing in football in Kampala by NETO NATO, Chemani.
Simon Boza, our correspondent based in the east of Africa in Kampala, Uganda. Thank you so much for the update. Just a quick one. With the new format of the Uganda Premier League, when will that kick off?
Sorry, come again?
I'm saying the new format of the Uganda Premier League, when will it commence?
I think I'm getting a problem with the network. The Uganda Premier League?
Yes, I'm talking about the new format we've discussed. I'm saying when will it be put to to test. When will it commence? All right, we're struggling to hear Sam Mpoza, but nevertheless, we've had a decent conversation with him. I just wanted to find out about the new format that we've discussed for the Uganda Premier League as to when will it kick off. 16:48 Central African Time. We take a short break. When we come back, we'll find out what's coming up on Mix Vibration with Annika Longe.
Mix Vibration sur Channel Africa.
Qu'est-ce qui vous a amené à dire ça? Est-ce que vous avez observé un certain nombre d'événements dans la vie? Est-ce que c'était par rapport à une expérience? Est-ce que vous avez rencontré des choses qui vous ont dit il faut de la patience, comme ça les choses vont venir au bon moment et les bons dieux pourra peut-être me visiter?
Oui, c'était justement un conseil que le Seigneur m'a fait inspirer pour donner à son peuple, parce qu'il y a la plupart des gens, pendant que Dieu bénit les autres, ils pensent que Dieu les a oubliés, et pendant que Dieu ouvre pour les autres, ils pensent que peut-être Dieu n'a pas pu écouter leurs prières. Alors, ce n'est pas le cas. Alors, Dieu bénit tout un chacun de nous avec son temps. Donc, le temps de Dieu est toujours le meilleur dans la vie de tout un chacun de nous.
Mix Vibration, tous les dimanches de 18h à 19h, temps universel.
You like what we do on Channel Africa? Then follow us on our socials. Channel Africa 1 on all social pages. And get the African perspective. Africa at Play with Neto and ETO Chemane.
16:50 Central African Time. A very warm welcome to Africa at Play. If you have just joined us, we're enjoying the last moments of the show. But before we say goodbye, we've got Annika Longe to tell us what's so exciting about the next edition of Mix Vibration. Bonjour.
Bonjour Neto, bonjour à tous les auditeurs de Channel Africa. Alors, tout à l'heure sur Mix Vibration, nous allons vibrer, nous allons bouger, nous allons danser au son et au rythme des belles mélodies du continent. Et aujourd'hui, dans notre segment dédié à la femme africaine, nous allons évoquer le sujet, l'impact des femmes africaines dans l'industrie de la musique. Ce sera une conversation très intéressante que je vous invite, chers auditeurs, à venir suivre. En tout cas, connectez-vous massivement sur notre site web, le www.channelafrica.co.za et également sur YouTube. Merci beaucoup, Neto.
Merci beaucoup. 16:51 Central African Time. This is Channel Africa, broadcasting to the world in 5 international languages, in Portuguese, English, Chinyanja, Kiswahili, and French, and Mixed Vibration coming your way in French. The match between Copper Belt Ladies and the University of Western Cape has produced 4 goals, 2-2 draw as it stands. The match is now on referee's optional time with 93 minutes of football having been played. Let's grab the last bite from Mmatsheko Stadium.
likamkhwanazi ngeshwa laphuma phezulu kwepali lizobuya libekwe phansi lela bhola kube i-goal kick ohlezi phansi Thileni imsuzu emine eyengeziwe iphelile manje uyasukuma Thileni Copper Belt izothatha leya goal kick bathatha nesikhathi manje ukususa ibhola lomdlalo osungaphela noma yinini ibhola liyavinjwa nange lithumela phambili sefuka uyavimba unathi Simayile uyavimba futhi nofikile Magama Mhlakaza othola umhlongo.
2-2 draw as it stands. The Copper Belt Ladies up against the University of Western Cape. It has been an exciting and glittering game. We saw Fiona Namanyana equalizing from the penalty spot for Copper Belt Ladies. They scored first and allowed the University of Western Cape to come into the game, scoring 2 goals, but at least they managed to secure a draw with hope that it ends any moment. Talking about ending, the match is officially on full time, which is a 2-2 score. Let's update you with the Premier League matches that have been taking place today in case you've missed out on action. Earlier today, we've witnessed Aston Villa taking on Fulham, and that match is about to end. Aston Villa leading Fulham by 3-1. 88 minutes of football has been played. There's one more match coming up at 17:30 Central African Time. Newcastle United up against the Gunners of London, Arsenal, and tomorrow will be Everton up against West Ham at 2100 Central African Time, officially wrapping up the weekend. And more matches will be expected. Match day 7 of the Premier League. AFC Bournemouth will be taking on Fulham on Friday the 3rd at 2100. Leeds United will take on Tottenham Hotspur at 13:30 on Saturday the 4th. Manchester United will be looking to redeem themselves after going down to Brentford by 3-1 yesterday. They will be taking on Sunderland on Saturday the 4th at 4 p.m. Central African Time. Arsenal, the Gunners of London, will take on the Hammers West Ham at 4 p.m. also on Saturday. Chelsea, the Blues, will be up against Liverpool. This is the big match of the weekend as Liverpool want to maintain their standing on the summit, while Chelsea want 3 points to keep pushing up on the table. Everton takes on Crystal Palace, who are currently on second, and that match is on Sunday the 5th of October. 16:55 Central African Time. Allow us to say goodbye. Worry not, because we will be back next week, Saturday and Sunday, from 2 to 5 p.m. Central African Time. Coming up your way will be Mix Vibration with Anika Launch. Thank you to Tumelo Mokwena, our technical operator, as well as Ntlantla Ngobo, who is our audiovisual streaming specialist, together with Dumisi Lema, our social media guru, not forgetting my producer, Andisiwe Fagimalu Zobona Mali, and from the rest of the Africa at Play team, thank you for listening. My name is Neto and ETO Chemani. Hosiati konyangazi mumkhatshwa phandle konjani moyane voko dendele. Africa at Play asideleli siyashaya. Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah.